It's Friday. It's Friday of the WGC. I guess my first question is, do we hold weather people accountable? Should we get Ron Childers on the air? John Bryan on the air?
No, we never do.
Tim Simpson
we never
on the
do.
air? Should we get him here and say, what in the world were you thinking?
Couldn't have missed worse, and I said it yesterday, Dave. I will bet a forecast on the last day of July for all day 80% rain. I will bet against that over 58 years of my life, and I bet I've won 56 times of them.
I'll say this much.
And I know the weather, and I don't have 5 live Dopplers.
It really doesn't matter, right? Because there's no people. So it's okay. But if there had been people and tickets sold, ooh.
Now, in fairness to those in fairness to those nice people, we miss picking these ball games too.
We do. But we don't move game times for our predictions.
Exactly.
So, had
Thursday and Friday just this side of bridges and overpasses being iced over.
Let me just say, you know who's happy that it worked out this way?
We all are. They are. They are too.
Brendan Todd is happy.
Brendan Todd's sitting high and dry, isn't he?
Brendan Todd. So, if you don't know, they played this morning. It's all over at TPC Southwind. Brendan Todd shot a 65, backing up a 64. He's 11 under. That's 2 better than Ricky Fowler. There's a bunch at 7, a bunch at 6, a bunch at 5. I think this thing goes. Now that Fowler is in this position where you're trying to catch the pack, probably 2 under still has a reasonable shot at making something happen. If you don't know who Brendan Todd is, he's 35 years old, originally from Pittsburgh, lives in Atlanta, went to the University of Georgia.
Hunker down.
This is how guys go from obscurity, even though they've made money. And
to new tax bracket.
To really becoming a household name if you win a major or a WGC or a players like Ricky Fowler, who's in second at 9 under. How many tournament wins do you think Brendan Todd has won? And keep in mind, he's been around since 2007. He's a 13-year professional. And I'm talking PGA Tour wins, not Korn Ferry.
Okay, I'm going to say 2.
3 wins.
And I was guessing, I swear.
Yeah. When I looked it up because I just want to know a little bit more about him.
Look at you, man. I love the Wolo prep, don't you, Drew?
Wow. Man,
when he's got that big brain activated.
It's expected.
I know. And it's just so easy for you.
And
like riding a bicycle.
I will confess to you, I would have said he won 1 tournament. I really would. And I'll be honest with you.
Earlier.
I would have said, you know what? He's been around since 13 or 14, probably a 4-year.
I would have said that too. I would have said 12, 13, 14. I would have too.
He came on the scene in 2007. Now, he was on the Korn Ferry for a while. He won 2 events there. He won 2 events on other tours, and I'm not sure if that was the Korean tour or the South American tour.
Those checks cash too.
Oh yeah, but
Bank will take those.
You're talking about pro tournaments. He's won 7 of them, 3 on the PGA Tour. That pays pretty good money, and obviously, if you're in this event, you're in the top 78 in the world. So, Brendan Todd can play. And he's shown it now with a 64, 65 first couple of rounds on a golf course that usually is very difficult. I don't think that he will approximate 22 under when it's all said and done. I think that 15 to 16 under probably will hold up. Some of that could be dependent upon the weather. Now, a lot of people thought tomorrow it was going to rain all morning. And I know people like myself canceled tee times because of that. And
Dave, check with me on all weather decisions, okay?
I should. You know why?
I got a tee time at 9 tomorrow. Am I good?
I think you're good.
You're great. You're great. It's gonna feel. It's not gonna be the proverbial feels like football season, but will feel very different than it has the last 6 Saturday mornings that I've been out in the yard early to beat the heat.
So this is a crazy day. We're done. So normally on Fridays, we're out at WGC at TPC Southwind. We're out there. We're taking it all in. We know we've been out there since basically Wednesday, so
we got mustard everywhere.
We're
You're already 4 drinks into the weekend.
Not yet. No, that comes. That comes about 5:30. That last half hour could be shaky.
You've never had a drop during a show, not even at 5:30.
I have never done that. I never understood how Harry or how Jack Buck or any of those guys could drink on the air. And I watched them do it. I watched them do it. So I know that was for real. I don't know how they did it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I swear to you, I don't know how they did it.
At old Busch Stadium, at Busch Stadium 2, the round thing before the one we have now, up until about 2005 or so, there was a Budweiser tap in the press box. I mean, I said, well, all the fun started after I quit drinking.
Well, they did. I
mean, during the game, beat writers and media, I mean, you could just get hammered during the game.
Right. No, that's the way it was.
I say up until 2005. That was at the conclusion of Old Busch Stadium, up until it closed.
Well, all I can tell you is I know. Let's say charters now, NFL charters, and the only thing I can relate to that would be our USFL charter, and it was modeled after the way the NFL did it. I mean, there was whatever you wanted to drink there. There was beer. Yeah. There was
nothing.
Those little bottles, and those.
I love the little bottles. I love the little bottles.
Those were the fun days, and then people started getting DWIs when they were driving back from the airport at 3 o'clock in the morning, and
that's said, what helped me.
Maybe we're not going to do that anymore, and they stopped that.
But we would be out there. It'd be festive.
It would have been, we'd be on cloud 9 right now. We soaked it all in. I'd be coming back Saturday and Sunday to do my stuff on the 18th hole, and this would be sort of the week we live for. This is one of my things all year. I wait for this week all year.
This and AutoZone Liberty Bowl, my 2 favorite sports things in town.
Well, it's odd that we're not out there. It really is. It sort of hurts, but it is.
I think I understand.
Oh, I know I understand. And
I thought I knew I understand. Now I'm just thinking I understand after.
I hear you. Anyway. So the show is already over. It would have been so weird to be out there today because we would.
Oh, they'd have tossed us. We'd been back at the studio like we've had to scamper before over the weather.
Yeah, maybe so. Who
did we lose one year? Didn't somebody get lost from Southwind back to the station?
That part I don't know. We never got tossed in the mornings. I can tell you that. We were there for everything.
But we were the do-busters in the morning, weren't we?
We used to be stationed at a position where by the time you were on the air, you were in the shade.
Yeah.
We would start off.
I was in the morning with you, Dave. Remember we did 6.5 years in the morning together.
That's true. But this position they put us in with Peter and myself.
Oh, it was a broiler.
It was so hot, but I am telling you. So we started 7 at about 8:15 to 8:20. The sun was there was a pocket that was untouched. The left side where I would sit, the left side would be burned. I mean, it was crazy.
It's always a good look, isn't it?
Yeah, but it is so weird that everything is over. So it would have been a weird show today anyway. But we've got a heck of a leaderboard. Brooks Koepka is up there with An and with Kang. Those are the 2 Koreans. Ches Reavie had a day. Jason Day's in the mix at 5 under with Im. Webb Simpson's at 5 under. Louis Oosthuizen, now there's a name from the past, is at 5 under. My guy Justin Thomas and Kevin Na in a group with Xander Schauffele. Scotty Scheffler and Jason. They're at 4 under. Jason Kokrak, Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, Shane Lowry at 3 under. Kevin Streelman's at 3 under. Jordan Spieth is at 3 under. Wouldn't it be something if Graham McDowell made a run here? G-Max at 2 under with JT Poston.
One of the nicest people ever.
G-Mac? Yeah.
Yes.
How about Henrik Stenson had a good day today? Yeah, he had 69s both days. He's 2 under. Keegan Bradley's at 2 under. Daniel Berger, two-time FESJC champ. Matt Kuchar, with his smile and all the money he's made, he's at 2 under. Xander Schauffele is at 2 under. Sergio, Bubba, that's Bubba Watson, Tony Finau, Ryan Palmer, all at 2 under. And I think those are the ones. So that's 21 guys. Those 21 guys, I think, are in the mix.
Dave, I don't share that many in the mix. I think it's down to about 14. But I don't want to quibble 14 or 21. But, when the week started, somebody had to beat 77. Yesterday, 2 or 3 people were thinking about maybe having to beat about 40. Well, we're really winnowing it down. And there's still a lot of golf to play. And that golf course, every year it grows in my appreciation for it. There aren't many picturesque holes out there. I mean, just really, you see it and you go, that's whatever at TPC Southwind. But there are a lot of just really matter-of-fact, straight-ahead, golf is golf holes.
I'll tell you, in my head, number 9 is
terrific,
a fantastic golf hole. I think 10 is a cool hole. 11 is unique. It's an island hole. I shouldn't say totally unique because a lot of the TPC courses have it, but it is unique to TPC.
I just like
courses.
it. I don't love it, I like it.
I think 12 is a cool hole. 14 is a cool hole. 15 is very, very pretty, especially from the tee box. I mean, 16 is an easy par 5. I don't think it's anything spectacular. 17 is a cool hole. You're at Southwind, and then 18 the dog leg. I don't like 18 holes where for TV or for the fans where you really can't see one of the shots, right? I mean, you have no idea sometimes even the second shot. You can see the first one roll, but you never see him hit it if you're sitting on the 18th green. And then some of the times people are behind, they've hit it short and they've got shots. You can't see from behind the green even the second shot. And so that's why I don't like it from a fan's perspective. But playing the 18th hole, it's a cool golf hole. It's a cool hole.
It's better, much better to play it than to watch me play because, as you just said, if you're up in the green area, I mean, you're wondering, is he or isn't he off the tee? I mean, you really don't know. Dave, it is, as Doug Barron said the other day, and I go back to that, and I respect and like Doug so much. He knows what he's talking about. With the difficulty, the front may be tougher than the back. That would be a place, and I'm sure they've thought of everything. If you flip the 9s, that it might make it even more spectacular.
There's a bunch of golf courses I think that would be true of. I really do. Augusta
National did it one time.
Is 9 a better finishing hole?
Yeah, but you just wonder, would the grandstand fit there for TV like it does for 18 if you flipped them? I mean, I'm sure they've thought all that, but
I think you could come close to accommodating that. Yeah, I mean, you think about all the grounds, you just have to back up. Like you could take the putting green out and move it somewhere else and make that part of it.
Would you want your 17th hole being that par 3 though, number 8?
No, you would not. That is why you would not make that move.
No, yeah, I don't think you would. This hour brought to you every day by. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
Just before we get to that, and I know we are tight. We do have some breaking news. The Pac-12 has made it official.
Yeah,
10-game slate according to CBS, and it is all non-conference all conference games, no non-conference games. We knew that was coming from the Pac-12, but they also now say they will begin on September the 26th. The SEC, you talked about leadership, and I was going to bring this up. The SEC was the first one to come out with that date, backing it up to the 26th. They did that, and frankly, I think they took the ACC by total shock because the ACC went with the model of having one non-conference game to keep alive some of the games they had with SEC teams. So some people would say they took them by surprise. Some people would say they jobbed them.
They led.
Some people would say they led. So there you go, because we had talked a little bit about that leadership.
We had, and later now seemingly the play. And this hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the golden opportunity. Last day of July sales event, and starting tomorrow, the 1st of August sales event. Great offers on all 2020 models and always special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by at 2600 Ridgeway at Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis, and check out and get behind that driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving great. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, there are so many of those today, Brendan Todd being one of those. In the real world of sports, I guess you could say the top story is the Cardinals and the Brewers series or I shouldn't say series, matinee game today postponed due to COVID. 2 Cardinal players have been tested, and they were positive. And so now all the players are self-isolating, Cardinal players, in Milwaukee in the hotel. They have rescheduled a doubleheader for Sunday. So they are going on as if planned. The Miami Marlins had an 18th player who was found to be positive. The 18 players now are being brought in sleeper buses back to Miami to self-isolate. The other,
Well, that gives new meaning to Dabo Sweeney's Roy bus, doesn't it?
Yeah, the remaining players are in Philadelphia still, and they will play. I think they're going to play the Phillies again. It was supposed to be in Miami. They're going to wait there, get retested, and they could resume on Monday playing in Philadelphia, and then they would be busing to New York. I think their next outing is with the Mets. So lots of rescheduling for baseball, but Rob Manfred is learning to live with the pandemic. That seems to me to be the message.
My top story, Grizzlies right now lead early, 13-11 over Portland. The Grizzlies' final 8-game grind begins in this hour with that 13-11 lead in the bubble. What a year from opening night in Miami on October 23rd, home opener against Chicago on October 25th, to the big win, the win of the year over LeBron James and the Lakers on Leap Day when the virus was barely on our collective radar. And then March 10th, that last night, the loss to Orlando at FedEx Forum, and then the shutdown. How the season will be remembered, it starts right now in Orlando.
And how about those Utah Jazz and Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, a little bit of Mike Conley.
Mike Conley.
In. The Jazz winners last night, giving the Grizzlies an extra half-game lead over the Pelicans. And if they were to win today, as I have predicted they will, we're going to give our Grizz picks, our hockey picks a little bit later too, then they make big strides over the last 2 days toward securing that number 8 seed.
Not top story of the day.
Now, those are the numbers of the COVID-19 here around the country and around the world. Positivity and cases still bleak. Shelby County has 450 new cases with 2 new deaths. Now we are at 20,797 cases. 275 have passed away. We had 2,188 tests in the last 24 hours. Unfortunately, that positivity rate stayed high at 19%. The only good news I can give you are active cases are slightly beginning to decline. In Tennessee, we're close to 103,000 cases and 1,033 fatalities. Mississippi is still a hotspot. More cases, up 1,200 today, 58,747, and their death rate is very high, 1,663. In Arkansas, 41,759, 442 fatalities. We're at 4.7 million cases in the United States now with 156,000 deaths, 2.3 million recoveries, 2.2 million still active, and we are at 58 million tests given Around the world, 17.6 million cases, 680,000 fatalities, 10.8 million recoveries, 6 million active cases. So if you look at it, we've got about a third of the world's active cases in the United States.
My not top story, 2 rounds in the books at TPC Southwind, and early in the week I wouldn't have bet on that. I'd have been as wrong as the 5 Live Doppler guys, but we got it in, and I'm glad we were all wrong collectively. And now the march to the next 36 holes to crown a champion on Sunday night in the golf world, head west to the PGA Championship, golf's first major of the year. Lost in that Pac-12 release. Did you notice, Dave? USC and UCLA's famed game, the crosstown rivalry?
No.
If it happens, opening day.
Opening day.
Opening day.
It just makes sense to me because we have no idea how long this will last without bubbles. Who knows? Look at baseball. So
maybe the SEC will do that.
Makes sense to me. Do that immediately. Play Auburn, Alabama. Play Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Play all those big, you play Georgia, Florida right away. Play all those big games.
The Georgia AD is saying cocktail party is going to be in Jacksonville. He said, I'm not hosting at Athens in front of no fans and then have to go to Gainesville next year and play in front of 85,000.
Oh, I don't blame him for making that call. I really do not.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if he sticks to that.
Yeah, and those are your top and your not top stories. Man, we got a busy show today. We'll be heading to Vegas in a minute and talk to Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet. Special guest, our owner, George Flynn. Early voting, the importance of that, and a whole lot more. If you haven't heard, Dr. Flynn is running for U.S. Senate. Jim Gallagher from the Golf Channel at 4 o'clock on the FESJC from TPC Southwind, I think, still there. Jason Munz, his impressions of today, and the Tigers and some other things. Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal. We'll make hockey picks and Grizz picks at 4:45. We'll know by then if the Grizzlies are winners. And yesterday, both Drew and I said Grizzlies would win today. Brett Norsworthy went the other way. Speaking of the NBA, Andy Schiffman will join us at 5 o'clock. We'll crunch our weekend with Crunch Time at 5:50. We are officially underway here in the Family Leisure Studios. Hey, I was in there today. You would not believe how quickly things have sold. They're not kidding when they say get your 2021 swimming pool now at 2020 pricing, and you'll be the first installation of 2021. So you get the price, you get on the list, you'll be early on. They have sold so much. Now, there's plenty still in the store, but it's incredible how much they have moved when it comes to all of the pools and the patio furniture and the play gyms, which are, by the way, back in stock. And speaking of patio furniture, they got a bit more of that, 20 to 30% off on that. Pool toys and floats, they're up to 30% off. And now they're saying, look, we got these things. We got plenty. You can beat the heat with an indoor game. That's a game table or even a slate pool table. Special prices on those. All you've got to do is get to I-40 and Whidden Road and tell them we sent you. And then you'll have a big smile because your backyard or your patio or your little game room, it will become your staycation getaway place. We are underway on this Friday, and we'll go to Vegas with Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet in just 1 minute.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar? Your liquor and wine oasis. The Spirit Shop has been providing sports fans their beverage needs since way back in 1969. So come in now and get ready for the big game. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, the Spirit Shop will help you celebrate or ease that pain away. The Spirit Shop is open every day, and they're located perfectly at 4848 Poplar. That's the corner of Poplar and St. Nick.
These are certainly unprecedented times, but as a plasma donor, you can receive $100 for your first donation. Plasma Biological Services is seeking healthy donors, as well as those who have fully recovered from COVID-19. Your plasma may be used to help those who are still fighting this virus. If you have tested positive for COVID-19 and have fully recovered, then please call 866-END-CV19. That's 866-END-CV19. You can also go online to griffolsplasma.com. That's GRIFOLS plasma.com to see how your plasma can help save others that are hospitalized with COVID-19. If you're eligible to donate, new donors will receive $100 for their first donation, and current donors will receive additional compensation in August. Please call 866-END-CV19. That's 866-END-CV19 or online at griffolsplasma.com for more information.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and find your right fit. At Edwin Watts, they take customer service to a whole new level. Not only do they fit for clubs, they take pride in servicing customers throughout the entire store. They'll help you find the right shoes, bags, gloves, balls, apparel, and more. At Edwin Watts, you'll find name brand equipment at guaranteed lowest prices every day. So buy it, try it, they know you'll like it because Edwin Watts help you find the right equipment. Visit Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stacks. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Voloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
We've got more breaking news coming your way on this frantic Friday. Brett, I may have you cover your ears because you could go into depression here and you may not be able to function the rest of the show, in case you haven't seen this story. We mentioned today the Cardinals, with the two players having COVID, are going to play a doubleheader on Sunday. MLB's Players Union and Major League Baseball have come to an agreement today, starting tomorrow, August the 1st. The deal says if we play doubleheaders, they will be 7-inning doubleheaders during the 2020 season.
Will the winning teams get to go to Tasty Freeze for milkshakes and the losers not? I mean, good Lord. Let's go over everything in baseball we no longer will do. No longer negotiable. The pitchers don't bat. No double headers. Bunting.
Well, we got
nobody knows how to. No 9 inning. No real double headers.
No real double headers.
No bunting. Nobody likes to. Nobody wants to learn how to. It's old. It's stupid. Never mind, there's a hole right there at third because of the shift, but nobody wants to do that. Extra innings, nobody wants to do that anymore. Don't throw inside. Stand right on top of the plate.
Crazy.
That's baseball.
The games change. They evolve.
Hope it works out for you, Rob Manfred.
No,
I will give Rob Manfred credit on something, though. There's been a couple of times in the last week, if he wanted to, he could have gone wobbly, and he's gotten a lot wrong. It was, of course, baseball just slapdash together, not real well thought out. But he could have gone wobbly a couple of times the last week, and he hadn't.
I agree. I tip my cap, starting with the Marlins and the way they handled that, canceling those series but keeping everything going. I like what he did with this thing. Let's find out a little bit more. Canceling the matinee, scheduling a doubleheader for Sunday with the Cardinals and the Brewers. I agree with you 100%. A guy that both you and I do not trust has done a good job thus far in the baseball restart. The problems
he's done a good job putting out the fire he started, though.
Well,
I mean, we're giving him credit for putting out the fire he started.
The truth be known, the fire comes from the players who didn't really take care of business going to a nightclub, if that indeed is the case, with the Miami Marlins. Let's go to Vegas. Let's talk to our friend from the Gold Sheet. That would be Bruce Marshall. Bruce, what do you think about all this baseball stuff? And now we've got 7-inning doubleheaders. It kind of reminds me of the minor leagues.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it is what it is, and I'm okay with it for this year as long as it's just a this year thing. I do think the extra inning rule now they've got, just the other thing they've got, starting the runner on second, I think that's going to stick. I don't know that I love it. And maybe it ought to be just like in the NHL when they have the shootout stuff in the regular season, they get in the playoffs, and then it goes back to
That's
the old
just
thing.
what I said yesterday.
Dave
I
said
love
it
you
yesterday.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
that's
I can live with that, Bruce. If when it gets real baseball time, we play real baseball, and there's not going to be any doubleheaders in the postseason. Heck, there's not any afternoon baseball games hardly in the postseason. That's another thing nobody wants to do. Nobody wants to play. I want a World Series game that starts in the bright sunshine and ends in the bright sunshine.
You'll never see it again.
Never.
I know. By the way, I think the last day World Series, I think, was Game 5, 1972, and that was only because of a rainout the night before. And that was Oakland and Cincinnati.
No, Bruce.
48 years?
I know Cardinals and Brewers in '82 had a Saturday afternoon game, and maybe even a Sunday afternoon game. I've seen this somewhere. It's more recent than it's like in '86 or '87 that there was an start in the bright sunshine and end in the bright sunshine. Speaking of sunshine, Los Angeles, the city rivalry between UCLA and USC, that's going to be opening day now if we have one.
Yeah, it looks like that. Yeah, I guess the A's Reds, maybe that's a weekday day game. That's the last one I remember. 87 Cardinals Twins. I don't think they had any day games. 86. I don't know. They remember 86. They had all those rainouts for the Mets and Red Sox. But I don't know. I'll take your word for it. There's one. Maybe it's a Brewers Cardinals. I don't know.
It seems
but
to me
even that 72 game was supposed to be a Thursday night game, and they had to push it back, and that's the game. Blue Moon Odom got thrown out. Anyway, the Marlins thing. I've got some different info on what went on there.
Okay.
What might have happened. And
give it to us.
They're very critical of the situation in Atlanta. There's Marlins people, insiders, are saying it's not out to a nightclub or anything. They were herded somewhere in the stadium there. They had to stop playing because of rain, and they thought there were some protections in the stadium that were not like it should have been. The MLB was furious that the Marlins were, and the Marlins were claiming it just sort of happened. It wasn't really their fault. But this is the risk that MLB has here when you're jumping around to different cities like this and traveling, which is what the NBA and the NHL have eliminated here. I mean, as much as they can try, you're still coming in contact with too many people. And that's, it's a risk that MLB's got to, they're really trying to thread a needle. I applaud them for trying this here, and let's hope they keep it going. And who knows what they're going to do with some of these teams. But the whole thing, when you're traveling around, you're risking yourself exposed to a lot more people than they are in the NHL and the NBA, which I think the bubble thing might actually work for both of them.
I think the bubble thing, in theory, is a much better concept. And and the NBA has shown it can happen. I just saw Gary Bettman on NBC this morning talking, and they have done all their testing now, and they have had 0 positive tests since they all came back together. And he was saying part of the reason they chose to go to Canada was because there's not a whole lot of COVID in Canada, and they wanted to take advantage of that sort of clean situation. But let's be honest. With the NFL or with Major League Baseball, and, Major League Baseball is a 60-man roster now, plus coaches, plus your GM and some of your front office staff that are overlooking everything, your traveling secretary. I mean, you've got about 80, 90 people. How can you possibly keep 90 people all together in the same place? Is there enough hotel space? Because now you're talking about 90 times 30.
A lot of those people more susceptible than the ball players to getting this and being ill.
And it's a lot longer than the time period that you're going to have with the NBA, which brought 22 teams and immediately is going to cut it from to 16 to 8 in a short period of time. And you wouldn't be doing that in a bubble where you've got all 30 baseball teams with about 90 people per team, and you're playing regular season.
Well, I don't know if they're taking all 60 on the road trips with them or not. I don't know if they're taking more than 30, and then they can bring somebody up the next day if they had to. I don't know that for sure, but maybe that's the case. But no, but it's threading the needle, and there's a lot more variables there. And even so, right at the outset, I mean, the NBA, first of all, the NBA, the advantage there is the rosters are a lot smaller anyway. And plus, you're going to start eliminating some teams rather quickly. So they'll do it. And by the NHL, Edmonton was a brilliant move, too. I mean, I know people in Las Vegas were thinking it's going to come here. And no, Edmonton was a much, much better alternative for them. Plus, you said there's very few cases up there. And I applaud Gary Bettman this time for pulling the switch and putting both these things up in Canada where things seem to be a little better.
Can we play the NFL in Canada?
Maybe. They got CFL stadiums there, so we'll see. This is the big question here because there's so many more. There's a lot of people involved in the NFL. Now, they travel some too, but not as much as baseball. And you've got, at least 30-some trips a week in baseball going on. And NFL, will have, half that many. And there's more people in the NFL. I don't know. Am I holding my breath. They're going to give it a go here, and we'll see what happens.
All I can say to you, Brett, is if the Canadian government wouldn't allow the Toronto Blue Jays to stay home and bring in teams,
they're not letting us
they're
go
not
up there.
letting the whole league in. I promise you.
And Bruce, wouldn't that be ironic if the Buffalo Blue Jays finally delivered a championship to one of the hard luck places on earth? Two things you can count on living in Buffalo: you're going to be cold, and you're going to come up short in sports.
Yeah, that would be. It wouldn't even really be their championship, but nobody go watch them anyway. So that would be kind of apropos for Buffalo. But I'm not holding my breath for the Blue Jays to win the World Series.
I thought of you this week when I read that for the first time in 7 years, the sports books in Nevada lost money. Holy smokes! Are they grieving throughout the state?
Yeah, and the sports books are doing better. There was no sport. A little bit. A little golf and some of the UFC stuff, but. As soon as the game started again, there was a lot of pent-up emotion from the bettors, who a lot of the people live here who bet, and they have the mobile apps and things. Plus, you get some people spilling in from California. So they've actually, some of the numbers have looked pretty good on the sportsbook side since they started to play this week. However, the overall picture, no. I don't go down to the Strip much, but I have talked to a few people who've been there, and they said these places are empty. They just canceled the electronic show in January, which is the biggest draw of the year. About 170,000 people come in here, plus all these other conventions. So the sports books will actually probably do a little bit better than the hotels themselves. But, the occupancy rates are going to be down until this COVID thing goes away.
Well, and a lot of respect for Bruce. We have a lot of respect for the people that set the lines. They nailed both of those last night and yesterday afternoon in the NBA after 4 months off in a strict quarantine bubble. As antiseptic as you can get it, and they nailed both of those lines yesterday.
Yeah, I think they're putting they're trying not to adjust things too much and get too carried away with some of the preseason stuff, or the little practice game stuff. A couple of these teams were rusty. Kawhi took a little while to work himself back, but he ended up looking pretty good last night. But all of a sudden, we got a lot of stuff going on here. Right. Basketball, hockey, baseball. It's like April in August. So after having nothing for 4 months, it was kind of good.
And in all honesty, the reason the report said for that loss in July, first time in 7 years since July of 2013, was because football futures, college and NFL, were not being bet upon because people don't know. We just heard that news about the Pac-12. Real quick, do you really believe we will play college football and NFL football this year?
I think they're going to try, and I think they'll give it a go. And I applaud every one of these leagues for changing their schedules around. And we can talk about this more later. I'm on a big warpath. I'm sick of the way the colleges schedule the non-conference. SEC's right at the front of that. And you go to the conference-only games. I applaud that to high heaven. And we used to have 10-game seasons back in the 60s and 70s. They started to go to 11. But we can get used to this for this season at least. And it's going to make for I'm all for it. well, the all-conference thing. I think it's a worthwhile thing, and who knew the Pac-12 would be a trailblazer and something, but I think they got it right, and others are following suit. So
how do we get more of you?
Check us out online, goldsheet.com. Stuff up there. I got some picks up there now because we got games. Also up at vegasinsider.com. And we are planning to publish the first football gold sheet, probably the first NFL weekend, because we're not sure when the college weekend starts. But the NFL's planning it that second week in September. We'll be ready.
Stay healthy, Bruce. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you
Okay,
next
boys.
week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
That's our friend in Vegas, the golden man from the Gold Sheet. That is Bruce Marshall. Our boss, who's running for Senate, George Flynn, is next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles when smiles are hard to get. You'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC accredited facility, and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselemembrace.com.
Chase Limb and Brace.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply. Men over 40, is your body feeling soft and not as lean? Are you losing your energy, drive, or even your passion? If so, you could be feeling the loss of growth hormone. The reality is, as early as 25, your natural production of GH begins to significantly slow down, which means you start slowing down. Well, listen to this. New GH Boost from Nugenix is the world's first and only non-prescription supplement that safely supercharges your body's GH production at night when it naturally occurs. Clinical studies show the ingredients in GH Boost can increase your body's own GH levels more than 100% in just the first 90 minutes. And right now, Nugenix is letting every man in America try a complimentary 2-week sample by texting WATCH to 231231 now. Get GH Boost and get your swagger back at the gym and in the bedroom. It's killing it at GNC, but you can only get your sample by texting WATCH to 231231. That's WATCH to 231231. Text WATCH to 231231.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
We promised you a special guest today. We do just that. Dr. Flynn, Dr. George Flynn, a guy many of you know maybe as your doctor, or you see him on a lot of television commercials or some programs that he's been involved with himself. I know him as a guy. I've worked for him for a number of years now. As a guy who thinks out of the box, he is a real problem solver. Those are the things that I have come to appreciate from Dr. Flynn. But I've got to start this interview with this very simple question for you, Dr. Flynn, because it's the one most people ask me when I'm asked about you, and that is, why in the heck do you keep running for office?
Well, people say, well, you've run for office before. And I sort of take it as a compliment, a badge of honor, because I've got real solutions. And here's the challenge. Is the first time I ran for office, I had a national consultant, because I know about radio, and I know about medicine, and I know about TV, but I don't know about politics. So I had this national consultant come in, and he said, I want you to wear blue jeans, and we're going to have you kneeling down on a farm, and we're going to take pictures with dirt on your blue jeans. Well, I had to go out and buy a pair of blue jeans. I didn't own any. I really did. And he said, wash them a lot and wrinkle them. Do not iron them. And he said, wear this kind of belt and this kind of shirt. We're going to make you look like a farmer. Well, you know me. I'm not a farmer. He said, well, we're going to have a picture made by tractors. I knew there were red ones and green ones and yellow ones, and he said, we're going to have you made, people are going to think you're a farmer. We're going to fool them. We're going to con them. And he said, hey, I want you to speak in sound bites, and I want you to have slick slogans, and don't say anything and don't promise anything. And I said, well, wait a minute, wait. I'm running because I've got some real solutions here to the problems. He said, forget all of that. This is a sales job. This is a con job. And that sort of bothered me. And what I see today, the same thing going on. And I developed these real solutions. I even wrote a book about it, and you can get a free copy of it. I'm not trying to sell books. I'm trying to show that we have problems like China and like national debt and like coronavirus, and I've got a solution for those, and it's Flynn for Senate, FLINN for Senate.com. And for anyone that misspells it, FLYNN for Senate.com, it goes to the same place. So you get a free copy of the book.
And Dr. Flynn, I applaud you. I texted you earlier today. We were communicating. I applaud you. You love your country. You love your family. You love your employees. You love your friends. And you're out there fighting the good fight. And you're independent. And you're a common sense conservative. And you're nobody's Xerox copy. And there's too many people that are Me Too Xerox copies, and you're not one.
Well, that's the situation. I'm just running to give voters a choice. And I hope they choose me. Well, I won't kid about that, but I'm running to give them a choice of a Reagan conservative that believes in family, faith, freedom, and right to life, or you've got two other guys mainly in the race that are blindly loyal, 100% loyal to Trump. Now, I support Trump. I'm going to vote for him, and I want him to win the election. But he is not always right. There's only, in my view, there's only been one perfect person that ever was on this earth that was always right. But it wasn't Donald Trump, and he's not always right. And when he's not right, I am vowing to stand up to him for conservative values. And people say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, just for an example, we've got our troops. Our troops are over in the Middle East, wherever they are in the world. Russia, Putin, has put a bounty, has told the Taliban, we will pay you per American life and American troop that you kill. There is a bounty on their head. And Russia has done this. Now, President Trump, he knows about this. He's known about it for a month at least, and there's an argument about when he knew about it. He has had 8 phone calls with Vladimir Putin, and he has not once mentioned it. Now, Putin is a bully, and he will push till there's pushback. And I would advise President Trump to push back, tell Vladimir Putin, stop. Enough is enough. And he'll stop if we ever do that. I am appalled at the Congress, at the Senate, at the President for not protecting our troops. You know, they're over there risking their life. They're over there. We have peace in our country because of them. They're peacekeepers, and they're fighting to keep the peace for us. And for us not to support them is just unconscionable. I think we should pull out all the stops and tell Russia, stop now. Yeah, it doesn't mean we have to go to war with Russia. All we got to do is economically cut them off. And if we do that, you know, our economy is $17 trillion, and theirs is about $2 trillion. And so we should cut them off really fast. And
Dr. Flynn, I so agree with you. And I think Vladimir Putin is I think he's more than a bully. I think he is an international gangster, and you're right. He needs to be stood up to, and I know how much you support and value the troops, and I heard you with Greg today, and you mean it, and I feel the very same way. Every time I see one, I want to hug them. I want to tell them thank you.
Yeah. Right. And I want to thank the troops, and I'll do whatever. I'll give them my airplane seat. I'll do whatever it takes to help them and let them know they're appreciated. And if you see somebody and you say, thank you for your service, this is a way you can do it. You can go out and vote, and you can thank them for the privilege that you have to go out and vote. And I suggest, you know, early voting is going on today, and you got tomorrow to do it, and then the election's August 6th. But they're giving you this freedom. So please go out and do it. Now, I hope you'll vote for me for Senate, because I will stand up for them. I'll stand up for you. Anything that's not conservative going on. I mean, Donald Trump is doing some great things. He's laid out a great agenda for himself, but he gets sidetracked. And we start majoring in the minor issues. We need to we need to focus on getting the country back open. We need to have it done safely with coronavirus. We need to get our environment safe, and we need to have law and order. And if it's not one of those three things, and protect our troops, if it's not one of those things, we need to focus on those things very narrowly and make sure that we're not off worrying about certain things that don't matter. They really don't matter. If we don't have our national security, we don't have law and order, the other things really don't matter.
Dr. Flynn, you mentioned the pandemic. You are a doctor. That is what your study was. Give us, we got 157 vaccines. Give us your sense of where we are and how quickly you think these vaccines may actually be distributable across all of America, or the globe for that matter, and when we might return to some sort of normalcy.
Well, it's interesting. I was talking with someone today. They're doing a vaccine trial over in Knoxville, and it's starting up in about 2 weeks. And I called them, and they said, we are starting up. And I said, I want to be one of the first in line. People are saying, oh, well, I want to wait, see what happens. No, I think it's time for a leader to go first. Don't watch what happens with other people. You go first and show that you are not afraid to do it. Now, it's time to do it. And these vaccines, they'll be in phase 3 trials. It means that they've tried it out. They found that it's safe. And we just have to make sure that it works, that it causes immunity. And so far, it's been doing a good job of that without side effects. So I'm very pleased with the way vaccines are coming out. There's one called the Moderna. That's the one that's starting out. There's another one out of England called the Oxford vaccine. And there's going to be a fight over which vaccine does the best. And I applaud that fight for which vaccine does the best, just so they work. One may work a little better than another. We don't know yet. But I'm very optimistic about us getting back to normal with the vaccine. So it's, the treatment, we have learned so much about the treatment. We've learned so much about the way this new virus is spread, and it is a benign virus for the young people. It is a deadly virus for somebody over 60 or 65 with a pre-existing condition. Or you don't even have to have a pre-existing condition. over 65 is a pre-existing condition, actually. But so this vaccine should go to the people that are the most vulnerable first, and then it will go to the general public. But the people, people under 15 or under 20, they're probably going to have a little cold and probably going to get well. But that's not the same for the parents and the grandparents of those people. So as you get older, this disease is a little more, deadly. But it is not a death sentence. If you have this, it is not a death sentence. It's so 90. We're having a 97.2% survival rate out of the hospital where I work. So I'm very, very optimistic about everything. But we focus on the ones that don't make it, like Herman Cain, like people, high profile people that don't make it, and it just makes you think, oh, if I get coronavirus, I might as well get my will in order. And that's not true. That's not true. But we don't need. Who knows who's going to react poorly to it and who's going to not. So there's a general fear, and I understand that, and I think we should respect it. What can we do? Wear a mask, wash your hands, stay 6 to 8 feet away from other people, and don't break the rules. Do not break those rules, because one break of the rules, and you can get the coronavirus. And you don't need to get it. It's very preventable, and you can prevent it by doing those things.
Dr. Flynn, we appreciate your passion, your drive, your hard work, because you don't need to do this, and yet you feel that you must serve. So I know on behalf of all the people here that work for you, we appreciate that you are looking after all of us. We truly do. And we wish you the best of luck, and tell everybody you get till, 6 o'clock tonight on the early voting. And if you don't get it now, make sure you get out and vote.
And get out. We have tomorrow also, and I would urge you to go out and vote, the early voting, because voting day is going to be a little more crowded, and you can get through easier now, and it's a lot less of a problem to stand in line, because the lines are, you got to have social distancing, and it's going to be a process. But I urge you to vote, because it is your honor to vote. It is your right to vote, and it is now your duty to vote. So I hope you'll early vote or vote on Election Day. And I'll ask for your vote, but I just want you to get out and make sure your voice is heard, because you've got an opinion. Now's the time to voice it.
He's Dr. George Flynn. He is
Thank you,
running
Dr. Flynn.
for the U.S. Senate. Thank you so much.
And thank you. And we got to get sports open again.
We do.
We're going to.
We absolutely do. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Flynn.
Thank you, Doc.
Bye.
Bye-bye. We got to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we will chat with the guy who knows his stuff, former FESJC winner, now with the Golf Channel. He is Jim Gallagher. I'll let you know this portion of the show is brought to you by the Commissary. That's the Germantown Commissary. That's the Collierville Commissary. Those two restaurants, all run by one guy. Walker Taylor's been doing this a long time. He's got the recipes. He's got the knowledge. He knows exactly what to do in these times of crisis. He is open back up inside, or of course they were doing takeout and drive-through for out the entire pandemic, but now they're welcoming you back in. There's a great spot in Collierville to eat outside on their patio. They've social distanced that beautifully. They take it very seriously. Everything, by the way, on the menu is still there for you to enjoy. Some of these restaurants, hate to say it, they've cut their menus way down. Not the Commissary. So if you want ribs tonight, you want pulled chicken tonight, you want pulled shoulder tonight, you want tamales, you want a salad, you want banana pudding, you want icebox lemon pie, you want tamales, it's all there. You can get it driving through or going in. In Collierville, you can get it curbside or going in Germantown. Make it easy on yourself tonight. You might see a PGA Tour pro in there, I promise. The Commissary, Germantown and Collierville, that's the way to get your cue. On cue, we take the timeout. Jim Gallagher Jr. is next.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and find your right fit. At Edwin Watts, they take customer service to a whole new level. Not only do they fit for clubs, they take pride in servicing customers throughout the entire store. They'll help you find the right shoes, bags, gloves, balls, apparel, and more. At Edwin Watts, you'll find name brand equipment at guaranteed lowest prices every day. So buy it, try it, they know you'll like it because Edwin Watts help you find the right equipment. Visit Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Hi, I'm Greg Gaston for Window Genie. Window Genie is a trusted name in window cleaning, but they do so much more. They can take care of your home or business. They clean interior and exterior windows with a streak-free guarantee. They clean gutters, do pressure washing and house washing. They can also clean and seal concrete, brick, and natural stone. Locally owned and operated, insured and bonded. Get your free estimate today and ask for the Sports 56 discount. Call 901-424-4100 and leave the dirty work to Window Genie.
Save now on your 2021 swimming pool at Family Leisure. Buy now at 2020 pricing and save your spot for the first installation of 2021. Patio furniture 20 to 30% off. Play gyms in stock. Beat the heat with an indoor game table or slate pool table. Pool toys and floats up to 30% off. Family Leisure, Whit Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Family and fun come together.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome in hour number 2. It's a pleasure to talk with our owner, Dr. George Flynn, who is just running for U.S. Senate. And today and tomorrow, that's the end of early voting. Man, I pass by it every day, and I keep thinking to myself, I really got to get to know this ballot a whole lot better, figure everything out. But he's right.
Next Thursday.
Let's get out and truly make our vote count. Today, weird day. Weather people got it all wrong, so all the pros went out early.
Do busting.
They were at 7 o'clock this
Playing
morning.
when we normally play in flights, Dave.
No, I don't mind that when it's not that.
I love it. I love playing
hot.
early.
And I'll tell you, Brendan Todd really liked playing early. That is for sure. He backs up a 64 with a 65 today. And he's got a couple-stroke lead on the field. Jim Gallagher Jr., former FedEx St. Jude Classic winner, now with the Golf Channel, joins us now. Did you hate it or like it when your entire routine got disrupted because the weather people got it wrong?
Well, thanks for being on the show, by the way.
Thank you.
I kind of, I don't mind. They knew yesterday what they were going to do as far as my tee time, so I kind of planned my routine accordingly. And as hot as it is, I'd rather go off early. And the guys, obviously, like Todd and a few of those guys got off early, got some decent scores in there. And just listening to it, because I've been moving kids in and out of school and all that stuff, and houses and all that good stuff. But they sounded like this afternoon the wind kind of picked up. But, I mean, I'd rather you kind of lean to be a little conservative and safe than to kind of come. As a player, I hated to come back and forth. Like the year I won, we had rain delays, and I remember – I think it was I guess it was for Friday's round. We had to come Saturday morning, and I had one putt from about 12 feet. And I had to come back. I just came out in tennis shoes. And my caddy goes, "What are you doing?" So I'm in tennis shoes. It's not like I'm going to hurt myself. And so I end up making the putt. And, then I had to sit around for several hours before I could play the third round. And that's when I hated it. That's the routine when you really kind of felt like things got away from me, when you had that wait, stop, and go. So I think they did it for the players' sake. And it turned out okay. Obviously, it just depends what the weather does. It's going to come in later. But those guys did get to beat the Heat, and they shot some good scores yesterday. It was phenomenal. I couldn't believe how good the scores were. And I know it's soft. I know they're ball in hand, but that just shows you how good these guys are.
Jim, Dave and I were talking about that very same thing this morning. Yesterday, for Brooks Koepka to shoot 62, I don't care how soft it is. I don't care what you got to do to shoot 62 on that course. That is just a really matter of fact, what you see is what you get, straight ahead golf course.
Well, 11 under's leading, and so that tells you also. But they used to say that about Geiberger when he shot 59. Oh, he played the ball up. I don't care if he's playing on the playground. He shot 59, and I mean, that's how great that score was. And like you said, 62 on that golf course. I mean, I could go out with 2 golf balls, play best ball, and have a hard time shooting 62. It plays its best, obviously, when it's firm. The greens are fast, and that's when it plays its best. But that being said, it was a phenomenal round yesterday, and you can tell. I mean, if they were really tearing it up, 15 under would be leading at this point. So these guys are good. These are the best players in the world. That's why at the WGC event, you're going to see some good scores, but you're going to see some guys shoot over par as well.
It's 45 of the top 50, 8 of the best 8. So you know that. I've often wondered this, and you would know. So you're talking about ball in hand, which means when it's wet, you get to lift clean in place. How many strokes do you think that would help Brendan Todd or Ricky Fowler or Brooks Koepka today?
It mentally helps you. I tell you what, it really helps you. It's not so much in the fairway; it's around the green. Say you miss it, and there's a hump between you and the hole, and you get to move it a club length and move it away from that hump. That's where it really benefits you in those situations. I mean, I think a club length is pretty liberal on how far you do it, but how do you measure it a scorecard length? I mean, we're going to get guys down there with their scorecards trying to do it that length. And they don't do it because it's a mud ball. They do it because the fairways weren't mowed yesterday, and that's the reason. And it's a chance of rain. It could be, a situation where it's so wet you would have had to play the ball up. So that's why they kind of lean that way. But you really benefit it when you miss the green more than Zoe's just so good, though. It fits up anyway. But for me as a player, I get to clean some mud off, and that helps too. So it's probably a shot, maybe 2. It just depends. Some players may, say it didn't benefit them at all, but I would say it probably helps a shot or 2.
Last weekend on the Golf Channel on coverage, Jim, you made a point, and I came running in to tell Dave about it earlier part of the week when we were talking about the week and having you on. And the point you made was not playing fussy, cussy, mad at yourself golf. And you said that one time you had really berated yourself and talked really, rough to yourself, and you got home and Sissy said, well, you wouldn't talk to the children like that. You wouldn't talk to me like that. Why are you talking to yourself like that? Play happy golf.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be said about that. I mean, I would wear myself out. But there's one thing to get mad, and, I would get mad with the best of them, and I'd bang a club or whatever and throw a little fuss, and it was over. It's when I would, like you said, just beat on myself, like you're such an idiot and blah, 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 blah. I mean, after a while, when you say it, you start believing it. And I think that's the thing you've got to be so careful of when you're not playing your best, that you have those moments where you're either looking for something bad to happen or you just beat up on yourself. I'm not saying you got to blow smoke, but you also have to have a little bit better. That's what made the greats. That separates the greats when they're playing well. They can take a situation like that and minimize the mistake, and they can make something bad and make something good happen. But, I mean, I was pretty tough on myself, and there's nothing wrong with being competitive. It's when you just bring yourself down. And it was a great point she made. I mean, it's like, or if I was caddying, would you put up with a caddy if he talked to you that way? No, you fire him in the next shot.
Right.
So, I mean, it's the same thing. And I mean, I think that was well taken. I didn't always remember to do that at times, but when you're playing well, you don't do that. But when you're kind of marginal is when you get yourself in trouble.
I think Nick Faldo made that point to John Rahm during the Memorial when he had that 8-stroke lead and hit a ball toward the water and slammed down his club, and you heard Faldo go, oh, no, no, no. And I think the consensus from the discussion surrounding that was it's okay to blow up as long as you let the steam out and then, as you said, then get back on building yourself up rather than continuing to bring yourself down.
Yeah, I had a caddy one time where he always tell me, get mad. And that means I got competitive. But I was real quick, and I'm still a little that way. I've kind of mellowed at 59. But I'm quick to anger, and then I'm okay. It's when it kind of lingered and, like you said, beat up yourself. But like for Rob, I don't have a problem with getting mad or whatever. But if it gets to the next hole, and it looked like it did for a couple holes there at Memorial when he kind of let it kind of get to him. And it's okay to run a little hot. It's just detrimental to yourself when you kind of beat yourself up, and you got an 8-shot lead. At this point, it's like, okay, I'm mad, but I got to go forward. And that's the challenging part that players who kind of run hot that they have to face every time they play.
Rory McIlroy seems like he's not playing. I don't know if it's fussy golf, but it's certainly shoulder shrug golf. He had a better round today. He's not played well in the restart, Jim.
Yeah, he hadn't got off to that start that he had earlier, and some players are like that. Some players go through stretches like that. I mean, Brooks could have been said the same thing, and he played that phenomenal round yesterday and putted so great, and today it kind of went away. But Roy's just kind of stuck in one of those things. But the thing about him is what makes him so great is he'll figure a way, and you'll hear these guys constantly say, hey, I'm close. I'm not playing that now. I'm just not scoring. And I think he falls into that category where maybe, he's making a mistake here or there, whether it's mental, and you're going to hit bad shots. And that's what you got to tell yourself. And you're playing a golf course that can be pretty tricky. You got some wind, a couple times the first 2 rounds. But I think that's the hardest part for guys that have those high expectations. They start putting pressure on yourself. But I think these guys are also pacing themselves for the big fall we're having starting now through the majors through the fall. And when it's in the playoffs, there's a lot of golf to be played. And I think Rory will get it together. Of course, he did last year. But it's not in the form we expect from him and nor he expects from himself.
We know every player in this field is a great player. That's why it's a WGC event. But not many people know a whole lot about Brendan Todd. For instance, when doing my homework today, I thought maybe he's been around 5 or 6 years. I knew he'd won an event or two. Turns out he's won 3, and he's been around 13 years. Mm-hmm. Which is mind-blowing how good some of these guys are, and really you don't know much about them until midway through a WGC or a major or a Players. Here they stand. So tell us what you know about Brendan Todd.
Well, he's kind of a quiet guy, but I've actually followed him at Bermuda when he won the first time in all those years, and he had some swing issues, some mental issues as far as confidence. I mean, he could hit a signal flare really quick and it'd start going. I mean, he'd come down there, hit a Puritan, and hit 140 yards offline with an iron. And he worked with a guy, I can't think of the guy's name now, but he was a fireman that caddied on tour some, and he talked to him about the mental approach. It's like, if you're going into a building on fire, burning, you better have some positive thoughts going through your mind. And he just helped him with some of the ways he thought. Switch coaches. I think it was Bradley Hughes who he went to work on his golf swing, and they did some phenomenal things. And it was amazing to watch him play that week. I think I followed him 3 of the 4 days. I got to interview him after the round, and just the way he pured it, and he looked comfortable. He didn't look like he was waiting for something crazy to happen, and he just found something there. Of course, he won Mayakoba not long after that. But I mean, he struggled. It was to a point where he didn't know if he's going to play anymore. And it's hard to believe players can get into that as great as they are, but it shows you how fragile we are as professional golfers and golfers in general and just humans in general, that the confidence can kind of go away a little bit. And I think that happened to him. But what he's done, I think I read the last 53 rounds, 18% of them have been 65 or better. That's 10. And I think up to that, I think I read it was like all those years before that, he only had 11. In 497 rounds, something crazy like that, the number. But that's phenomenal golf that he's played, and that's what's taken off the time for the pandemic. So he was having an unbelievable year going, and he's still playing well. I got away from him a little bit at Hartford. Whether that was just not being comfortable, I'm not quite sure. But, man, he's turned it around, and good for him to see somebody like that. You look at Michael Thompson last week winning. The comeback stories, those are the stories I love when I get to work off Central and get to see guys do that and overcome.
Me too.
Some things like that. I mean, Steve Stricker did it too. I mean, he was back at tour school with me one year. He'd had all those great, and he played great after that. So those are the cool stories that people don't always see. They see all the superstars. They see the Koepkas, Tiger Woods, and Rory's, and Rahm, and all these guys. They forget about the Todds and the Michael Thompsons and the players who are just great players that make that comeback. Those are the cool stories that I love about the PGA Tour, golf in general.
Jim, who do you think is the best player on the PGA Tour right now?
Right now? I mean, they're going back and forth. I mean, I think the potential's there for Brooks, but, whether he's hurt or not, Rahm's upside is pretty good. I mean, Rory McIlroy, to me, if I had to put on somebody when it comes down to things, I think he's really, when he does get it, you watch out because he can shoot zero. But there's 5 or 6 guys. I mean, you look at Bryson DeChambeau, how well he played early on. Now he's struggling a little bit. But there's so many. It's hard to say, yeah, he's the best player because there's so many week after week. And it shows you how deep the PGA Tour has. But when it gets down to it, Rory McIlroy would be up there with me. I can't wait to see when Tiger comes back next week. You know, PGA, it's going to be a little cool. He hadn't played a lot, but I think he took Memphis off FedEx St. Jude. I think he took that off to prepare for the big picture. I would have loved to see him play. I'd love to have seen it for our fans in the Mid-South. It's been great to have him there. Maybe he'll come back, but I think with the fall being so big, with so many big tournaments, I think he was pacing himself to see, you know, how he can make that big. I think that's where he took the week off.
We are talking with Jim Gallagher from the Golf Channel and, of course, former FedEx St. Jude Classic winner. You've mentioned a couple of times, Jim, caddies. And Brett and I have had a long-standing debate.
You're going to drag him into this.
I am. We have had a debate about how important a caddy is, like Stevie Williams was for Tiger Woods, although, you know, he's done pretty well since Stevie left, at least in the last couple of years. I've contended, I think a caddy is critically important. Brett's contention is the player does it all. Give us your sense.
I think a bad caddy is a bad caddy. I think, this is a bad golfer. But I think a really good caddy that knows when to say the right thing at the right time is crucial. To know their player. That's the hardest thing, to understand your player, understand the body language, understand what he's doing, and to be able to, if he hits a bad shot, just keep your mouth shut sometimes. But to be there is like when they are faltering, to kind of reassure the player. I think for me, and I told the caddy, I remember at 11 at Southwind one year, with an island green and a way back 175 yards, playing long, way longer than it does now. And I hit the shot and I piered it and it went right in the water short. And I went, what the heck? He goes, I did the yardage wrong. I said, well, you were pretty convincing that it was right. So, I mean, that's to me. I mean, he was a big enough man to say he messed up. But when a caddy says, I think it's a 5-iron, he better be convincing. And it's still ultimately the player's responsibility to hit the shot. He's got to make the final call. But if a caddy pulls the player off and it makes him switch, you better dang right be right, because there's a lot of good caddies out there and they can be, kind of replaced with that. But I think it's crucial. I think just they become part of your family. And you spend almost as much time with them as you do your wife at times, especially on the road. So you better be able to get along. I don't think you can be buddy-buddy all the time, because that can be detrimental, because your friend or your family member may not tell you what you need to hear. He may tell you what you want to hear. And I think that's sometimes for a good caddy. He needs to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Who's the best caddy you've
Jim,
ever seen?
Yeah.
That I've ever seen?
Yeah, well, not that you've had necessarily, but the best caddy you've been around. Fluff's been around forever. Reputation-wise, Stevie Williams, Bones McKay,
Bruce Edwards.
Bruce Edwards, long time.
Yeah. Bruce Edwards was really good, not just because he was with Tom Watson, but he knew what to say. He knew how to handle himself. I think he was phenomenal. Stevie Williams was like Tiger. They're just uber competitive. They want to just beat your brains in. So they had a lot of that same personality. Bones was good. I actually had him caddy for me. He was great. Phil Mickelson, obviously, he knows what he's doing. He's another good one. Angelo was great with Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah,
so I would put those in there from years ago. But I mean, the caddy is a guy that can, not so much that he probably can save, if he can save you a shot or two, that's huge. But it's somebody that when things are going rough, that can still stay positive and kind of get you to the next level. To kind of, they kind of like to be a little bit of a sports psychologist. I don't want a cheerleader. I didn't ever want a cheerleader. That's the last thing I wanted. But I wanted someone to tell me, hey, you need to get your act together at the right time. Not when I just hit it in the water, but when the right time is, and to also be there when you need them. And I think that's the difficult part. These guys, what's the coolest part now is a lot of these guys were ex-players. Paul Tesori caddies for Webb Simpson is an incredible caddy. Left him out. I mean, I can go down the line, but he's great for Webb, and he's a positive, upbeat guy. But he's not a cheerleader, and I think that's a big plus.
Jim, on Sunday, who joins that Memphis honor roll of great champions that 1995 had Jim Gallagher on it? Who wins on Sunday?
I would not be surprised that Brendan Todd didn't bring it home. I really do. I think he's playing with a lot of confidence. I know I got away from him up at Hartford, but I think as well as he's playing right now, the putter's working. The thing is, you've got to be a good ball striker. There's still a lot of golf left. It depends if we get some weather on the weekend with any wind. That looks like we're going to get that. But I think it's just kind of one of those stories. He's had kind of one of those years, and I think he's going to be tough to beat.
Ricky Fowler is the one now chasing just a couple of strokes back. It's been a tough restart for Ricky. This is the best that he's performed. 64 yesterday, 67 today. I think the 64 is by far his best performance in Memphis on this course. Where is Ricky Fowler in your mind?
Well, he switched instructors, went to John Tillery. Actually, I think I was told it was November, December. I couldn't say anything because I'm friends with John and some guys, and I heard that he was able to looking at film and maybe thinking about working with it. Well, I think it's taken a little bit of time for him to kind of work on the things that John wanted to work with. And maybe not so much change, but get things where he wanted to get him. And I think the time off kind of helped him make those changes. You look at Lydia Ko on the LPGA; she made a better swing instructor change, but they had time in the off season to make that, not off season, but the off time to make those changes. And I think he's finally seeing and believing in what he's been working on. He's always been a phenomenal putter, but I just think even for Ricky, I think the changes took a little longer. And, when I had Tillery on my podcast a few months ago, we were talking about with Kevin Kisner. When he was working with him, he said it didn't take like 2 weeks for kids to kind of get this. It took almost a year or so for him to not only buy in, but to see the results. And I think that's some of the tough things. Butch Harmon's an incredible instructor, but he was also kind of that mental coach for Ricky. And to go to John Tillery, I think it's just taking time for him to get it in there. So, I wouldn't be surprised for him to make a run either on the weekend. But I think that, when you make a change, it takes a little time to get the results, and he's seeing that and maybe gets confidence in what he's been working on.
Really takes a leap of faith, doesn't it? I mean, if you don't get it in 2 weeks, and you usually when you make changes like that, your game goes down before it goes up. You really got to believe in what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's for the average guy. That's why we go to the doctor, because we want to get medicine.
Right.
It's not when the doctor says, you know what, the virus is going to be okay. It's cold, you're going to get over it. And as a society, we're so impatient. And sometimes we, as analysts, we thought, when are you going to get it together? It doesn't take a week or two. When you're making a change, it could take months or it could take a year. But it's whether the guy, and I think that's the toughest thing. And I think it just kind of interests me. The players always, with their ability that want to be better, they would make the instructor changes. And that isn't always the best thing. But when you do that, if you don't buy in to what they're selling, then you're not going to have any success. And I think that's the hardest thing for instructors, to get them to buy into what they're trying to do. It's usually not a major thing, but to buy into something different, because we are all creatures of habit. When I started working with BJ Trolio before I turned 50, I went back to what I used to do. I didn't make a swing change to completely different than what I had success in. I went back to what I used to do, because I'd gotten in such a bad habit of being steep, and I needed to get it, a little bit flatter over there. And it was like, I told BJ, I'll never forget looking at the video. So I've never been over there at my golf swing. And he goes, well, there you are. And so that's where you kind of get. I was like, it was easy for me to buy in, because it was something I was used to and something I truly believed. It took a while for it to kick in. It didn't kick into the level I had in the early 90s, but it got to where I could compete a little bit and feel better about my golf swing.
He is Jim Gallagher, and we love chatting with you. Thank you so much. So you're betting on Brendan Todd. We'll remember that on Monday. And we thank you, and I know we'll talk to you again sometime in the very near future.
Well, thanks, guys. I hope I answered the caddy question. You were both right, and you guys can fight it out after that.
Thank you, Jim, and we will.
We will, exactly.
Because neither one of us ever concedes.
Well, you've never had a good caddy. That's the problem. Maybe you've never had a good caddy. That's probably the problem.
That's probably it.
Right.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, guys.
Be safe.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, man.
Jim Gallagher, one of the great guys for sure. Breaking
Sure
news
is.
right now, Rob Manfred told the Major League Baseball Players Association Executive Director Tony Clark today, if the sport doesn't do a better job of managing COVID-19, it could shut down the season.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's just where we are, David. It's very fragile, and a lot's going to have to go right for a lot of days in a row.
Well, it can. If this is not a nightclub in Atlanta, then, maybe it is tougher than we even thought. I go back to the bubble. I know the bubble works. All you have to do is look at the testing in the NBA and look at the testing in the NHL. And after initial issues, there were no problems. And baseball,
the virus is real.
When baseball was practicing and staying in their home ballparks, we didn't have issues. Traveling to different places. And now that was at least what some folks thought earlier. Bruce Marshall thought it was not a nightclub in Atlanta, that this came from being in an inside area in Philadelphia's ballpark. Well, if that's the case, then really that's bad news for baseball, because that means it's going to be harder.
Bad news for everywhere.
And harder for football and baseball to really come back until
Dave, I think we
have either a tolerance for more asymptomatic cases or we have a vaccine, either one of the other.
I'm scared of the HVAC places, and you're seeing now that one of the hot sellers in that business is medical grade HVAC.
And you know what? That may be what we all have to change to. HVAC, heating and air conditioning systems that have multiple layers of filters that constantly cleanse the air. I mean, that seems to me to make the most sense, if that's possible, and that could be a whole other new industry before all of this is said and done. This hour of our program is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, Genesis of Olive Branch. The 2021 models have started to arrive. Those 2020s were so good, like the Hyundai Tucson, #1 compact SUV for 2020. That's according to J.D. Power. And the Veloster is the compact sporty car for initial quality, #1 in that category, again, according to J.D. Power. And if you're going to go to Homer Skelton Hyundai or Genesis, you are going to get two things. You're going to get a limited lifetime powertrain warranty on every new car, including my G70 in the Genesis line, or I should say, and a 3-year, 36,000 miles maintenance packages. That's Hyundai's, Genesis cars, all of those. And if you love the Hyundai certified pre-owned, those even get powertrain warranties up to 100,000 miles. If you love safety, the 2020 Hyundais tied for the most safety picks in all of the industry. And then there's the service you get if you get on Lamar into Mississippi to Craft Road, exit 1, turn left. You'll understand how they take care of you. They've all been together for a long time. There's a reason. Success. They take care of you. They stay around. All you got to do is go find out for yourself. You'll thank me later. Head to Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We are back in a minute. We will head to TPC Southwind, if he's still there. Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal covering that and the Tigers. All of those things will be discussed in just 1 minute.
It's R&R on Sports.
The word is out about R&R on Sports, where you've heard interviews from Ken Griffith Jr., Dr. J, Hank Aaron, and many, many more. R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m., Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1. Don't miss us.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles, ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at TriumphAutoSales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Introducing Peacock, the new free streaming service from NBC Universal. It's hit movies, current shows, and live sports. News clips, trending bits, and timeless hits. It's Kim and Courtney, Seth and Jimmy, Hoda, Savannah, Fiona, and Shrek.
I'm an ogre.
It's the best of streaming and the best of TV. And that's why you can't not watch. Peacock. Watch for free, upgrade for more. Stream now at peacocktv.com. These titles plus the English Premier League and Law & Order SVU streaming now. Content availability may vary over time. Some content requires paid upgrade.
Hi, I'm Greg Gaston for Window Genie. Window Genie is a trusted name in window cleaning, but they do so much more. They can take care of your home or business. They clean interior and exterior windows with a streak-free guarantee. They clean gutters, do pressure washing and house washing. They can also clean and seal concrete, brick, and natural stone. Locally owned and operated, insured and bonded. Get your free estimate today and ask for the Sports 56 discount. Call 901-424-4100 and leave the dirty work to Window Genie.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and find your right fit. At Edwin Watts, they take customer service to a whole new level. Not only do they fit for clubs, they take pride in servicing customers throughout the entire store. They'll help you find the right shoes, bags, gloves, balls, apparel, and more. At Edwin Watts, you'll find name brand equipment at guaranteed lowest prices every day. So buy it, try it, they know you'll like it because Edwin Watts help you find the right equipment. Visit Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back into a frantic Friday. We've got all kinds of things happening. Cardinals baseball players, coupled with COVID, that matinee with the Brewers canceled today. Cardinals are isolating in a Milwaukee hotel room. Rob Manfred is now telling the players director Tony Clark that if the sport doesn't do a better job of managing COVID-19, being more careful, I guess, following all the protocol that they've put into place, it could shut down the season. And this just coming out, the Red Box Bowl, which is one of the new bowl games that features the Big Ten against the Pac-12, has just said they're not going to play this year.
It's going to be a bunch of them, Dave. It will be it'll be a lot of bowls. It'll be some names very, very familiar, and I hope it doesn't strike too closely at home. Also, the Grizzlies trail at halftime, 68-60. I can't believe he went there dragging Jim Gallagher into that. So I'm going to drag Jason Munns into it starting out here. Okay. I say Tiger Woods would have won 15 majors with Lafitte Penkai as his caddy.
I don't necessarily agree with that. Jason Munns, who is out at TPC Southwind, he's been watching all these great caddies. Do you believe in the importance of a caddy, or do you think Tiger wins all those no matter what?
I think every caddy is important. It's just to what degree. I certainly think that a lot of times caddies help make the golfers, better. They help them enhance their game from time to time. And of course, they also make mistakes. But I think by and large, I think they help more than they hurt. But yeah. I mean, it's a matter of to what degree. How much they help is really what it all boils down to.
Jason, what's it like out there? Are you in the big tent that we were all in a year ago, or are you in a different place? What kind of access have you got to follow players? What is it like covering the 2020 WGC?
Well, I meant to say, and I should have probably alerted this to someone sooner. I'm actually not out there. We are limited to just one credential here locally. The Commercial Appeal only has one credential, and the reason for that is, we are, owned by the one company that owns us also owns Golf Week. So we're like tag teaming with Golf Week. We only have one pass. We can't share it. So it's not like we can send one person on one day and that person can hand off the pass the next day, and then somebody else can go, on another day. So Mark Giannotto, our esteemed columnist, is handling golf duties for us this week. But, we've got special feeds and that sort of thing that we're able to watch remotely, and access to, all sorts of things, interview transcripts, things like that. I mean, there's even for those who are on site, which again include Mr. Giannato, he's not allowed. They're not allowing in-person interviews. There's a pool reporter, I think there's a couple of pool reporters and one TV reporter. So all questions have to be submitted through the the media organizers, the media coordinators there, and they'll ask the questions, get them typed up, and it's so tight out there. I'll say this: it's so tight. They only at the media tent, the media center, they only show one interview per day on video at the closed circuit feed out there. They interview. I think today they interviewed like 10 or 12 guys, but the media who are actually out there on site only get to see one a day. So it's tight out there.
But, Jason, you are pouring out the content, and I've enjoyed it because we're not there this year, and we miss it greatly. So I'm trying to commiserate and feel like I'm there and follow it as closely as I can because I do love it, and I have very much missed it, and I think over the weekend will really pain me. But we'll get over it, and you're doing a great job on it. We just had Jim Gallagher on with us. He thinks Brendan Todd hangs on over the weekend. Dave and I, of course, disagreed on how many are actually maybe still within striking distance. How many do you think could put, with a little bit of a faltering by Brendan Todd and good play, how many people do you think could still be around on Sunday?
Well, I think anybody. I know Brendan. He's at 11 under. He's 2 up on Ricky Fowler, who is 2 up on a handful of guys, and then it kind of goes down after that. I think there's a few guys 6 under, 5 under, 4 under, and 3 under, and I think that's like maybe 20, 25 guys in all. But I think when you look at who those guys are, who might be 3, 4, 5, 6 under, I mean, listen. These are the best in the world for a reason, and it wouldn't shock me at all if there's a guy at 3 or 4 or 5 under today who could eventually, who could get hot tomorrow and Sunday and take home the title. Brooks Koepka, he's at 7 under right now. He's a defending champ. He was 8 under yesterday. I mean, look, he can shoot an 8 under. If he wants to, if he has a good day, he can shoot an 8 under. He can shoot a 7 under. And if he does that in back-to-back days, well, then look, he's going home with the title, I would think. So, but no, I mean, there's Rory McIlroy, who is plenty capable of getting really, really hot on back-to-back days. He had a good day today to kind of get himself back to within that. He's lurking down there. Dustin Johnson is lurking. So I think Phil Mickelson's he's even hanging around. He's not going away. So I don't think anybody's going to run away with it. And I do think that there are still quite a few guys who could, if they get hot, they can make a run.
Well, you're taking it all the way down. If you're talking Rory, and Tommy Fleetwood's in that camp too, and those are big names. You're taking it 42 deep because that's 1 under. I went 21 deep. Okay,
mm-hmm.
I went to 2 under par, and Brett doesn't think it'll go that far. But you're talking only 21 guys, and remember, there's
14.
We're talking about the top is 11, then 9, and then everything gets closer and bunched in. So here's the names at 2 under: Ryan Palmer, Tony Finau, Bubba Watson, Sergio Garcia, Xander Schauffele, Matt Kuchar, 2-time champion here Daniel Berger, Keegan Bradley, winner of a major, Henrik Stenson, Kevin Kisner. JT Poston is a guy that's coming on. G-Mac, winner of a major. Jordan Spieth is at 3 under. Kevin Streelman. Phil, you mentioned his name. Shane Lowry. Dustin Johnson's at 3 under. Jason Kokrak. These are all names that could put 64, 65s together. Kevin Nas in that group. Justin Thomas is at 4 under. Louis Oosthuizen is at 5 under par. All these guys are in play. There's no question that those, in my mind, those that are at 2, 3 under, they're still in this thing because you're really talking about only 2 guys that have totally pulled away, and that's Brendan Todd, who we saw fold up in Hartford, and Ricky Fowler, who, other than the Players' Championship, hasn't really won a significant tournament. Not saying he couldn't and won't this time, but those are the 2 guys that have sort of pulled away. Otherwise, you're bunched in. If you're 2 under, you're only to get to that group at 7 where Koepka is, you're 5 strokes away. Back-to-back mid-60s, you're in the hunt.
Yeah, and so 2 points here. You mentioned the 2 guys who are kind of leading the pack right now. As we saw today, if Brooks Koepka can struggle the way he did, then anybody in the field can have a bad day, and it can really, really cost them. And I'm looking at guys like Ricky Fowler and Brendan Todd. So yeah, I mean, all it takes is one bad round, even one bad half a round for one of those guys, and if some of the others behind them get hot, then you're looking at a completely topsy-turvy situation. The other thing is, the reason I brought up Rory McIlroy is because he's Rory McIlroy. I mean, he's no stranger to stringing together really, really, really strong performances and making things, making guys sweat on Sunday. So, I mean, shoot, if I'm not going to say Rory is not capable of shooting 63, 64 tomorrow, and if he does, depending on how things go with other guys, he's right there in the thick of things going into Sunday. Again, I should say, this is a guy, Rory McIlroy, who was the leader going into Sunday here last year. So I'm not willing to count him out. Probably some of the other guys around him who are back, down there in the 40s and 30s. I don't have a reason to necessarily have a ton of faith in them, or at least not as much as I do McIlroy.
The importance of getting in with the WGC for the tour, for FedEx, for the Memphis stop, it's been highlighted this year. Okay, we're not out there. We miss it. It's fanless. There's no Prono Pups. We all miss it. We all miss this weekend when the crowds with this field and this many people that could get involved, they would have been blockbuster. But guys, if we hadn't have made that move, we'd have been one of the tour stops that didn't have anything this year when they readjusted the schedule, Jason.
That's right. And, that's really what it all boils down to. It's like, and it's a decision that a lot of people have found themselves faced with. It's either no fans or no tournament. And I think, all things being equal, as difficult as it is to not have fans, to not be able to let people come see in this town, in Memphis, Tennessee, to go see the best in the world do what they do best, it really is unfortunate. And like you've mentioned, for us, it stinks too. I had a complete and total blast. Last year was my first time since coming to Memphis a couple of years ago. Last year was my first tournament, so it was awesome. It was hot as all get out, but it was well worth every bead of sweat that came pouring out of me. But I would much rather, the exposure, the national exposure that this tournament brings to. It shines a spotlight on Memphis, on FedEx, on St. Jude, most importantly, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So, as bad as it is to not be able to have fans there, this is certainly, you'd rather have this as opposed to nothing.
One last thing, Jason Munn's covering golf for the Commercial Appeal. He's also the Tiger basketball beat writer, and the last couple of weeks for Penny Hardaway and his success recruiting, still waiting on an assistant coach, but what he has been able to pull off. And do you think we'll have college basketball this year?
I do. This year, this calendar year, or this season?
This season.
I do think there will be basketball this season. At least I'm leaning more toward that than the alternatives. And I did want to say kudos to you guys. That interview last week with Penny was phenomenal.
Well,
by the
Thank
way,
you, Jason.
so sorry about that. But no, I do think there will be basketball, and I do think Memphis will be pretty good when they do. When they are able to hit the floor. Obviously, Moussa Cisse is going to have a lot to do with that. And of course, we're still waiting, which is interesting given the way transfer waivers have been handed out by the NCAA at a very high clip this past week. Just this past week, there's been, it feels like at least, 8, 10, 12 transfer waivers approved, and it feels like very few denied. So,
Wow. When do you think, if that's the case, we could find out soon about DeAndre Williams and Landers Nolly?
I think it all boils down to when exactly Memphis submitted their.
Well, they got him in early this time, and he mentioned that too. Because last year with Stokes, they did not.
Come
I
on,
think they learned their lesson.
Please.
Yeah.
Right. I hope they did. And he said, he did a little media thing last week, and after y'all's interview, where he said that they were that they had applied for the waivers and they were just waiting to hear. So, if indeed they did submit them, much earlier, then yeah, you hope you hear something soon. I mean, there's been a couple dozen, I think, already ruled on. The Juzang guy, I think, who transferred to UCLA, and then there's been, a guy at Georgia Tech, and there's been a few guys this week. So I think Memphis fans are starting to get a little bit cautiously optimistic that if so many are being approved, then you've got to like your chances of at least getting one of the two, DeAndre Williams or Landers Nolly, approved. And if that is the case, it doesn't even really matter which one. If you only get one of those two, plus Moussa Cisse and Ahmad Rand and Isaiah Stokes, not forget about him, you're talking about a really formidable lineup this coming season, which I do think, kind of going back to what you were talking about, is I do think there will be a season, but I also think it'll be abbreviated and modified.
Conference only, maybe, huh?
Yeah, I just don't see, or maybe, I don't know, maybe one or two non-conference games. Like, let's say the Tennessee game in Nashville, if they could somehow squeeze that in early in January.
And Ole Miss, proximity.
Right. If you can squeeze in one or two before you get to conference, I think you certainly try. And so, yeah, I at least that's what I'm keeping my fingers crossed for is I think that's the most realistic, plan that's out there right now is a January start, mostly conference, but potentially one or two of your bigger, better, more interesting, intriguing non-conference games.
10 seconds. Who will win the WGC?
Brooks Koepka, and I know that.
Whoa!
Yeah. Listen, the way he looked yesterday, I saw him last year. He went nuts. I think today was just a little yip, and he'll recover and get hot these next 2 days.
That'd be okay with me. Well, I don't know. That would absolutely give the picking contest to Drew Barrett, though, that is for sure. Jason, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Jason.
Stay healthy. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Good job, by the way, on the golf coverage. That is for sure. This portion of the show brought to you by the Spirit Shop. It's time for the weekend. We're almost there. Some of you already are there. You're thinking about stocking up, aren't you? Well, there's one place that I highly recommend. It's my friends, Eddie Connor and his family. They've been running the Spirit Shop since 1969. They've been keeping people happy for a long, long time. And Eddie is so helpful. He really is. He will explain to you anything you want to know about the greatest wines or the greatest tequilas or the greatest vodkas, the greatest bourbons, the rarest of those kinds of things, or even the new and up-and-comers. You want beer, you want accessories, they've got it all. And they do it so nicely for you. It's tight in there. It's a little log cabin. You've seen it before, right down the street from Clark Tower, 4848 Poplar and St. Nick. The thing is, you can't go in anymore because it's too tight to be socially distant, but they bring it to you curbside. You can call in advance or just drive right up there and tell them what you want. And ask for Eddie if you got any questions. It's that simple. It's time to stock up for the weekend. It's on the way home, right there at Poplar and St. Nick. It's the Spirit Shop. Back with a wrap of, well, we got to do very quick hockey picks when we come back on Sports Time.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So, traffic has been crazy lately, right? And rush hour? Forget it. Nobody wants to let you merge onto the highway. But hey, somebody let you merge or you wouldn't be there, so drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and find your right fit. At Edwin Watts, they take customer service to a whole new level. Not only do they fit for clubs, they take pride in servicing customers throughout the entire store. They'll help you find the right shoes, bags, gloves, balls, apparel, and more. At Edwin Watts, you'll find name brand equipment at guaranteed lowest prices every day. So buy it, try it, they know you'll like it because Edwin Watts help you find the right equipment. Visit Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text BICEP to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BICEP to 42424. That's BICEP to 42424.
I'm George Flynn, candidate for U.S. Senate in the Republican primary. This election, you'll have a choice of values. I'm a Reagan conservative, believing in family, faith, freedom, and right to life. Or two others, blindly loyal to Trump. We know people aren't always right, even President Trump. And unlike my opponents, when he's not acting with conservative values, I'll stand up to him to promote our Tennessee conservative values. I've developed real solutions for our problems, not a lot of empty promises or sound bites. I'm George Flynn. I'm a physician, I'm a Christian, I'm a conservative, and I'm asking for your vote for values of family, faith, and freedom. As a physician, I can tell you that masks work to control this pandemic. I'm George Flynn, and I approve this message. Paid for by Friends of George Flynn, 2020. Gene Bryan, Treasurer.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
The Grizzlies are on the move. They were down by 10 a few minutes ago. And they are on a run. And they have just taken the lead with 5 minutes and 43 seconds left to go in the third. 82-81 over the Trailblazers. They got Grayson Allen in the game right now. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been hot. Dylan Brooks has been pretty good. Valanciunas, as always, has been pretty good. Brandon Clark's in double digits. Ja Morant, 9 points, 7 assists so far in the game with only a couple of turnovers. Okay, so we are going to attempt to do hockey picks. Now, I had to call my friend Stats Norsworthy today to say, you realize there's only 8 of these games that are single elimination or that are series.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah, I realize that.
And that the like in the East, Boston, Washington, Tampa, and Philly, they're playing for seeding for the next round.
Sure.
St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, and Dallas the same.
And this is why it makes me so much happier when I beat you at your sport.
Yeah, that you're just like taking a dart, throwing it at the wall, and if it says Blackhawks,
it's my knowledge.
You go.
It's my knowledge, Dave. I didn't play youth hockey like you did.
That is very evident.
And y'all didn't even hit.
That is very evident.
Y'all didn't play it either. Y'all just out there skating with equipment on.
No. We were absolutely. We didn't have a coach. I will tell you that.
Did you ever lose a tooth?
Heck, no. Are you serious? No.
Well, then
come on, that's the moneymaker. You can't damage the moneymaker.
I got to tell you, they. We played in checklist games too. We weren't allowed to really hit.
See, that's not even hockey. That's just skating.
It wasn't hockey. They didn't play. They skated as little kids. That's what they did.
Mm-hmm. So let's get to the West real quick because we're going to run out of time here. I like the Blackhawks, who won the regular season. People don't realize that against Edmonton, they won the regular season. Blackhawks, the 12 seed, Edmonton, the 5. I like the Blackhawks. I like Nashville to now that they're healthy, they're going to come back, and it'll be their offense against the defense. I like the Preds to win this series in a close one. Vancouver's another series that will be close. Vancouver's a young team. They will overcome the veterans, unlike the Blackhawks with Edmonton. Their defense will win over the veterans' defense. The offense from the youth of Vancouver will win. Winnipeg will a little upset against Calgary. Close series again. Winning goaltending and special teams by the Jets. They beat Calgary. Drew. West.
Okay. In the West, I will take Edmonton over the Blackhawks.
Of course you will.
Of course. I'll take the Preds in a 3-game sweep.
Oh, not going to happen.
I'll take I'm trying to follow along with this thing.
Vancouver,
Minnesota. I will take the Canucks in 4, Jets in 3. 2 over the Flames.
So we only differ in the Blackhawks and Edmonton.
What a mixed bag I have.
Okay.
Wow. I'm going to take Edmonton over the Blackhawks.
Of course you will.
Just to go against you, Dave. I will take Calgary over Winnipeg to go against both of y'all. I will take Nashville over Arizona to be with y'all. And I will take the Wild, one of those wacky no S ending nicknames, over Vancouver, and that's why I'm taking them.
So you got an
just
upset
Wild,
there,
singular.
just because it doesn't have an S. Oh, I love your rationale. I will take Pittsburgh in the East over the Montreal Canadiens. They have advantage in every category. Drew?
Give me the Penguins.
Okay, we all agree. Carolina, the 6th seed, over the New York Rangers. They've got goaltending is the only thing the Rangers have. This will be an easy win for Carolina.
Canes.
Give me the Rangers.
You're taking the Rangers. Okay, I love that. You just make sure you're keeping up with this, Brad. I'm taking the Islanders over Florida.
I'll take the
Panthers. The Panthers.
You got the Panthers. I'm going with the Islanders. Florida does have no offense, none. And then the Toronto Toronto Maple Leafs.
That's Maple Leafs, Dave.
That's another great sweater, by the way. The Maple Leafs over Columbus. Absolutely every category, Toronto is better.
I'm with you on Maple Leafs.
I'll go with the Maple Leafs as well.
All right. There you go. We got our hockey picks in. And that's 2 hours in the books. This portion of the show is brought to you by Supercuts. Supercuts is a locally owned, operated hair salon business, Czech family business. They really care. They care about you. They care about this community. Nothing is more important to them at Supercuts, to the Czechs, than the health and safety of their team and the Memphis community. At Memphis Supercuts, salons are reopened, and they are doing it with what they call the Safe Salon Commitment in place. The Safe Salon Commitment was developed in partnership with the top infectious disease doctors all across the country to maximize safety and sanitation in all the Supercut salons, which means when you're ready for a haircut, they're ready and prepared and clean, and they will see you. You can learn more about the Safe Salon Commitment from Supercuts and prepare for your visit at supercuts.com. Back in just 1 minute. When we return to Chicago, we go. More on the NBA and on the games. And that will be with our friend Andy Schiffman. He is next.
All 75 months at 3.14 APR, G4, LHF 07822, Outlander LUO 28772, Eclipse LZO 16320. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 59875 excludes tax, title, and license. With approved credit, see dealer for details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Drive your ambition with a new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, $149 a month with 41 MPG highway, or buy for $12,435. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport is ready for any adventure at $229 a month, or buy for $18,533. And cross over to summer in a 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, only $19,147 or $239 per month. And better yet, they're all backed by a stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Mirage G4, $149 a month. Outlander Sport, $229 a month. And Eclipse Cross, $239 a month. Feel safe and confident while shopping at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Hi, I'm Greg Gaston for Window Genie. Window Genie is a trusted name in window cleaning, but they do so much more. They can take care of your home or business. They clean interior and exterior windows with a streak-free guarantee. They clean gutters, do pressure washing and house washing. They can also clean and seal concrete, brick, and natural stone. Locally owned and operated, insured and bonded. Get your free estimate today and ask for the Sports 56 discount. Call 901-424-4100 and leave the dirty work to Window Genie.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sportstime on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sportstime is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
We talk bubble basketball, games being played like Suns, Wizards, and, of course, Grizzlies, Trailblazers. We do that with Andy Schiffman from Priority Sports in Chicago, Priority Sports Entertainment. He's Executive VP of Basketball Representation. We will do that after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour, and that's DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales. Check them out online. Look at all those beautiful cars and all those heartfelt, sincere recommendations from all the happy customers at DeSotoAutoSales.com. All the cars test driven, all checked out bumper to bumper. Unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If by chance they don't have it, they'll go out and find it for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid back down home atmosphere, no high pressure sales, but DeSoto Auto Sales, they care about your time. They want you to have the ultimate car experience. You walk in within 45 minutes, test drive your car, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in about 45 minutes, for sure less than an hour, because they know we're living in a world today that time matters. At DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road, 662 890-7184, online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
Holy smokes, the Grizzlies are in the midst of a 28-7 run. Well, it's even better than that. Now it's 96-88.
Just open up the can, didn't
45 seconds left in the third quarter. We will, at 5:30, go over each of these games, and I've got a feeling, the way this is going, that the Grizz have given Drew and I a one-game advantage on one Brett Norsworthy.
That's what really matters, isn't it?
That's all that counts is how we pick.
I can't wait to beat you. These hockey picks, Drew and I were talking bad about you during the break.
Well,
it's our wealth of knowledge up against your hockey. We love beating you.
I'm the foremost hockey expert of the South, so of course I'm going to win.
You didn't even know that the first four teams were for seeding, for goodness sake.
I knew that. Brett didn't.
My gosh. In the meantime, let's not waste any more time. Let's go to Andy Schiffman. Should we crown the Grizz the 8th seed right now with New Orleans losing last night and the Grizz with a 12-point lead as we end the third quarter against Portland today? How are you?
I'm doing well. Now that basketball's back, I'm doing much better. I'll tell you, last night, Dave, was one of the best nights for sports we've had in quite some time, not only because the NBA is back, but you could not have asked for two more competitive, dramatic games and finishes to start the restart of the season. The ratings for that Lakers-Clippers game was close to 3.5 million, which is more than double what it is during the regular season.
Wow. Is that right? That's what it was? 3.5 million viewers, including me?
Hey, people need sports. People need basketball, and it's just fun to watch. Watching the Grizzlies now go on this tear in the third quarter, like you mentioned. My guy Brandon Clark throwing up lobs to Ja. It's fun to watch, and it's great to see these games in action, and they're meaningful games with every team in the bubble playing 8 games leading up to the first round of the playoffs. It's just exciting stuff.
So that means 3.5 million people saw LeBron James get away with fouling Paul George at the end. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The guy, look, whatever you think about him, he missed the shot, got the bucket on the offensive rebound, comes down and makes the defensive play on Paul George. He won the game last night. There's no question about it.
There's no question. And then even that game before between Utah and New Orleans, and just watching Brandon Ingram and Donovan Mitchell and those guys, that game come down to the wire where the Pelicans had a lead just about the entire time, and then Utah overtook them just with shooting and defense. I mean, like we talked about last week, you remember, I think, Brett, you asked the question, just how efficient would these teams be defensively, having been off for so long? And I made the point that I think defensively they'll be fine, and Reggie Miller made a similar point last night in the Lakers broadcast multiple times, and he said, why you see these teams, the defense is ahead of their offense. They have fresh legs, and defense is all about energy and effort, and they have to get back into offensive rhythm, but defensively they're all putting forth that energy and effort, and it's exactly what you saw in both games last night, and you're seeing Memphis now. It's a close game here to end the third, but they went on that tear through transition, three-point shooting, and defensive stops.
I got to ask you about Zion Williamson, who did not play but 15 minutes and was not around at the end of the game.
0 rebounds.
Which
I blinked and missed him, Dave. I got all set up to watch Zion's return.
You got to watch the game, then you won't miss him at all. He was so efficient in his minutes.
He was, but he only played 15 minutes, and that's the thing about him is, you know, every time he plays, he's on a minutes limitation. Maybe if they make the playoffs, he won't be. But you know, the most you saw him was shots of him on the bench down the stretch, and he basically said he didn't think he was in that good a flow. He was not upset he was not in the game, and that's a little troublesome.
And the team came out today. I don't believe he'll play in their next game this weekend also.
Wow.
But I just think, again, it's not cause for concern. You're talking about a team that's trying to make the playoffs. They're going to have a very young, exciting core to work with in the future between Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Jackson Hayes, Zion. not to mention their multitude of draft picks they've got moving forward. And last night, Zion, 13 points in 15 minutes, 6 for 8 shooting, but you could just watch him. No one can stop him going to the rim. Nobody can. The fact that he has moves, he has counter moves in the post, he can shoot the ball. He's a truck down there. And you think about when he does get to the point where he's consistently playing 30 minutes a night, along with the rest of these pieces that the Pelicans have put together in such a young core, young group. They aren't far behind where the Grizzlies are in terms of a young, exciting core of players where you fast forward 2 years from now, what they can really be. And I hate to say it, but I think with Zion leading the pack with Brandon Ingram, they'll probably overtake the Grizzlies, and they could easily be a top 4 or 5 team in the West 2 years from now.
Yeah, Andy, I'm with you on Zion and his, almost unable to defend against him. But look, a lot of the bubble TV programming was built around him, and I know the Pelicans are building for the future, but I wanted a little more for the now last night.
Well, you'll have at least 6 more opportunities to see him if he's not going to play the next one. I'm sure his minutes will be interspersed similarly as they were last night here and there. I can see if he is playing well and he's feeling good and they really have a shot at that 8th seed, maybe they'll unleash him a little bit more as they get closer to the start of the quote-unquote playoffs in the bubble. But I think for me, there's enough exciting basketball going on that I'm not disappointed completely as a basketball fan if I don't get to see Zion the whole time. I want to see him in spurts. But again, if these 2 games last night are indicative at all of what we'll get to see here in Orlando, just buckle up.
They're doing the Grizzlies a favor. If they don't play him in the next game and lose, and the Grizzlies win this game, and we already
it's over,
and they will have beaten Portland, the other team really in the mix with them. My gosh, they won't even have a play-in. They'll have the 4-game lead to hold, and basically will just be the 8th seed without a play-in game. Although I hate to say this, but here comes the Trailblazers, and about a minute gone in the 4th, they have regained the lead. The 12-point Grizzlies lead is gone.
Yeah, you can never discount a team that has C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard, that's for sure. Not to mention Carmelo Anthony.
That's for sure.
Hassan Whiteside's playing well. Gary Trent Jr. off the bench is hitting shots. There's a core group of veterans there that you absolutely have to fear if you're a young Grizzlies team still learning how to close out very important, significant games.
That'll be tough. Who else are you happy to see back? I thought it was fun to watch Kawhi and Paul George last night, and you got to wonder if Lou Williams hadn't been irresponsible, would that have made a difference last night?
Absolutely, I think it would have. Kawhi and Paul George were just clicking on all cylinders, and it is quite remarkable, in my opinion, that throughout all that, the Lakers still managed to win. Of course, they've got Anthony Davis and LeBron and Kuzma's hitting shots as well. But it was just a battle of titans last night, and all the stars. LeBron really didn't even have a great game. He made some big plays down the stretch, but to show that they can still win.
But he's great.
He's not really that offensively efficient because he can do so many things. And I'm getting ready for this Celtics-Bucks game tonight between Giannis and Jason Tatum, Gordon Hayward, and everybody on the Celtics. That's going to be a great game. 2 of the top teams in the East. And then later tonight we got Dallas and Houston. It's fun to just watch basketball, and it really is. It's like the start of a new season. I think that's how you got to think about these things. That's how the players think about it. It's a whole new season now.
And Andy, you put it so well. The virus never goes away, though, no matter what we do. Even when we try to escape, heck, when I'm outside in the solitude of my yard, the virus is always with us. But last night, today, the matinee, the earlier game, all the games today, all the weekend, it's a chance to think about something else. Now, Woj reporting Kings player has been quarantined for 2 days after inconclusive coronavirus test result Wednesday, successive negative results on Thursday and Friday, expected to allow for him to play tonight versus Spurs. So right there when I'm saying it, the virus never goes away, but at least we can have some action. Who's the Lakers' best offensive player?
I mean, I got to still say it's LeBron. I'd be remiss if I said anybody else for the Lakers, just because not only with regards to his scoring, but just everything else he can do, and the fact that any time the guy touches the basketball, it attracts the defense. And there's not many players in the league that you can say that about, that he's always a threat to score, to make a play, to get a hockey assist, whatever you want to say. He's just too dangerous, and you have to have all heads on LeBron at all times, all eyes on LeBron, where he is on the court. And you saw it last night. Even if he's not having a good scoring or shooting night, the plays he can make and the I would say attraction he brings defensively from these opposing teams every night, it just creates so many other opportunities for his teammates. It's very dynamic. It truly is. It's a dynamic duo between him and Anthony Davis, just like you saw the Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George.
I will respectfully disagree with you. I don't think that the Lakers would have won that game last night, even with LeBron, if they don't have Anthony Davis.
I agree with that, but it still doesn't take away from my answer that he's their best offensive player.
It's LeBron. Gosh, he's great.
Anthony Davis had 34 points in 35 minutes, 8 rebounds, shot the ball really well, was a beast down low, getting some of these offensive putbacks. But I'll still say, even last night, LeBron only 16 points, but just what goes into offense in the half court and the threat he is, for me, that's what I'm saying for the Lakers. And the league is just chock full of these superstars now. It's amazing you think about especially on the wing, the level of talent the NBA has across the board compared to where it was 15, 20 years ago, from the physical evolution of these players, from how skilled they are, and it's only going to continue. The players and the superstars 10 years from now, they're going to be maybe not as good as LeBron, but just generally speaking, I think they're going to be more skilled and talented and quicker and stronger and athletic than what we're seeing right now.
I would agree. I think the superstars of every era are just as good as the superstars of any other era. It's evolution. We get a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, a little bit stronger with every new generation, taller, and everything else that goes in with that. But I still think that the greatest players in their era would have been great players in any era. But I think it's indisputable this is the golden age of the NBA. There is more depth than any other time that I have seen it. Like the 8th, 9th, 10th player would have been a really good player and probably a starter in some other eras. And we play at such a frantic pace now because we have that kind of depth that the game itself is a better game. I think the fair question to ask is, how did we develop so much depth? Is it because more people started playing college basketball, or it's cultural in areas where you can't afford to play some sports, but you can afford this one because all you need is a ball and gym shoes because you can go to a playground.
But then you have Tyler Herro. I mean, he's a great player.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you hit it on the head, Dave. All those factors are reasons why we see so much depth and talented depth, roster to roster. I also think you see how significant AAU basketball and how competitive AAU basketball is today. And I don't really remember it being as significant or competitive 10, 15 years ago when a lot of these players that I watched growing up were playing. I think you see a larger spotlight on international basketball. I think you see a larger spotlight now on high school basketball and these developmental programs and camps, and a lot of the NBA people now are going to scout that early in terms of high school talent, elite-level high school talent, plus the advent of social media. Now everyone out there, all these young kids have access to watch their favorite players, for access to training videos, access to just new creative ideas and moves and just resources. And I think the increased availability of all of this definitely goes into play to get us this deeper talent. I don't really think so much that has to do with, players are just They're just better. They're just stronger. Well, okay, let's get to the bottom of that. Why? I think it's everything you just talked about, everything I just talked about, and I think it's going to continue. And I understand, I agree that the players of today are just as good as the players of other eras, but to bridge that gap, you always have to think about how would these players adapt in certain leagues? How would a guy like a David Robinson, Tim Duncan, or Hakeem Olajuwon that collectively maybe took 5 threes in their whole career, that's a little hyperbole, but you get my point, how would they adapt to today's league? How would a strictly perimeter big man adapt to the league 20 years ago when everything was just 5 feet within the basket, back of the basket, hooked over either shoulder? That's really it. It's interesting to see how just the entire game itself really evolved.
Andy, you represent Bradley Beal, right?
Yes.
Washington, their motivation for the bubble is get on the bus and get out of town, isn't it?
Well, they want to protect their assets, like Bertans, like Bradley, for sure. They understand making the playoffs for them would probably be a long shot. I don't necessarily know if their full motivation is to just get out of there, but realistically, they were, about 5.5 games behind Brooklyn. They understand making the playoffs would be difficult. And what's the reward for making the playoffs? A first-round matchup with Milwaukee, where they probably were going to be swept in a very quick series. What's more important is to keep your stars healthy. So that definitely is part of it.
Well, they are getting pounded with under 3 to go. They're down 118 to 104 in the fourth. So that does not bode well for them. What are some of the other stories you think that have compelling drama that we will want to watch as this bubble continues to play? And obviously you mentioned the premier game today, the Bucks and the Celtics. I don't know if that'll get 3.5 million, but it'll get a bunch of folks.
It won't get 3.5, but I'll tell you, that's going to be a heck of a matchup between the 1 and the 3 seed right now, Milwaukee and Boston. I just think as we get down to the into the playoffs, to really see these players in quote-unquote mid-season form, I'll say, but now they've had some rhythm. They've all had, at that point, they'll have had 8 games under their belt, plus the couple weeks of training camp they've all had down there. And I think you'll see a lot of teams and veteran players, and even young players for that matter, really hit a stride. And I really think, and I'm excited that when we get to the playoffs, you're going to see some of these teams' best basketball that we've seen really since right before the All-Star break, just because of the length of the season. And I'm just excited to see the playoffs start. I'm excited to see a matchup like an Indiana or Miami. I'm excited to see Dallas, Houston, teams like that, Utah, Denver, some of these teams that might be sleepers in their respective conferences that could really rattle a little bit. Perhaps the Lakers or the Clippers or the Raptors or the Bucks could really make some noise and compete. I'm excited to see. I love watching Denver. You know, I love watching the Heat play. To your point, Pat, watching Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. They've got a nice young core. I mean, these are young, exciting.
Love that coach.
Fast-paced, well-coached, fast-paced teams to watch. And so, for my money, I'm going to tune into those games just as much as I'm going to watch the Lakers or the Bucks every single night.
All right, you mentioned the Nuggets. I ask you this carefully, and if you do not want to discuss it, feel free to beg off. But you have Michael Porter as your client as well, do you not?
You're going to ask that. Yes.
Do you give him any
Andy,
advice?
we debated this today. I promise you, Dave and I debated this whether to go here, because I know you represent both Michael and John Tay, and it's a tough question.
Do you? My question is simple. Do you? Because I don't know the dynamic. It seemed to me that the president called him in, which was to say, look, I like you. You need to be careful with what you're saying, not necessarily to muzzle him,
right?
But to sort of help guide him. So I didn't view that terrible, like it was censorship, because I didn't get the sense that was the whole point. You're his client. What? His agent. He's your client. You have to protect him. Do you call him? What do you say to him in something like that? Lessons for all of us. And if you defer, I get it.
Well, I'll say as much as I can, Dave, but realistically, myself and we as a staff, we take great pride in how our players are perceived how they carry themselves, and a lot of times they will somewhat speak out of context. They will just look. Here's the best way I can say it. Michael is a very authentic, genuine young man, just like his brother John Tays on the Grizzlies, and he is articulate, and he just is who he is. He's not this cookie cutter. Let me learn how to present myself and not say certain things. He's going to be who he is. And unfortunately, at times in this business, that means he might be answering questions in the media just as if he was talking to you or I. And so for sure, we as his agents, we will talk to him about how to address certain things. Now, could we have foreseen certain remarks he might be saying about the virus and his beliefs and thoughts on it? No. Do we address it? 100%. We don't have to sit there and teach these players, and the teams all do this as well. They all have media training and PR people, but it's hard to obviously preempt how players will respond to certain questions. And just to your point, I think it was something in the moment. It was a little bit blown out of proportion, and it was a news story of the day. But realistically, just like you said, he wasn't called in the office being scolded by any means. It was just, hey, here's how we're going to approach this moving forward, and then let's just put your head down and go back to work. He's entitled to his belief. He's entitled to what he feels is his own personal philosophy on things in life, and because of who he is, he's put on a platform that you or I, maybe you guys, but not me, are put on in the media where his words are given a lot of weight, whether that's right or wrong, which means they will be taken out of context if they stand apart from what a layperson may say, and that's just the nature of the business. But at the end of the day, he's a sweet kid, and I think it's one of his endearing qualities and characteristics that he is so authentic and genuine that he's not this robot out there to answer questions that are all politically correct.
I do too.
And I think that will change over time as he learns and goes through this business. But for all intents and purposes, he is a rookie. He did not play last year. This is all new to him. He really wasn't getting battered with questions like this in the media last year, and so this is a learning process for him, and I'll just leave it at that.
There you go. Andy Schiffman, thank you.
There
Stay
you go.
healthy.
Well done.
Give my best to your family. We'll do this again next Friday, and by then we may know if the Grizzlies are just going to be the 8th seed.
Well, we'll see if they can hold on here at the last part of the fourth, but it's just fun to watch some basketball. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, we always love chatting with our friend, our agent from Chicago, Andy Schiffman. By the way, 6.5 to go. The Grizz are back up 5, 108-103 in the bubble over the Trailblazers. We'll basically come back and let you know a little bit more about that. We'll go over the Grizzlies schedule, and we will make our picks on that in just a minute. It's time to upgrade your game and get custom fit for free at Edwin Watts. It's time for you to really get into the new technology. Look, we got Bryson DeChambeau hitting 423-yard drives. I'm not saying that's going to happen with you.
Watch out for the fire ants, though.
If you get to Edwin Watts, they'll fit you with the right technology that will improve your game. That's the truth. Lessons and equipment go a long, long way. And they got it all. You can go to Cal. You can get Callaway, TaylorMade. Of course, you can get Cobra. You can get incredible Titleist product. You can get a new Bushnell to make it easy for you to figure out all of the yardages. I still don't understand if we're going to try to make the game faster, even on the PGA Tour. Why don't they just say, you can
Amen.
look at your book for your green layout, but let's find out how far it is from the flag. It'll save the caddy 30 to 45 seconds minimum every shot. I don't know why they don't do that. And these Bushnell things, they don't lie. I like to use the rangefinder. They got the GPS stuff now that'll talk to you. It's amazing. And everything they've got, they will give you their 100% satisfaction guarantee. I've seen guys come back, weeks later after they bought a product, and Jay Hasselman goes, come on, we'll swap it out. That's just the way they are. That is the philosophy. And the truth of the matter is, Edwin Watts, well, that's where everybody goes. If you want to really learn about golf and the latest equipment and meet people in there that love to gibbets, everybody who loves golf goes to Edwin Watts. It's amazing. I see 4 or 5 people in there, even with masks now. I see 4 or 5 people I know every time I'm in there. You want to know more about golf and get the latest. There's only one place to go, and I'm not kidding. There's only one place to go in Memphis. It is Edwin Watts. All right, we'll make our prognostications here in just a minute on the Grizzlies' 8 games. That's next.
Spend your lunch with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 Middays, delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hey, frequent heartburn may keep you from running your A game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to prilosecotc.com. You'll get $3 off to get you started. Plus, 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, 0 heartburn. Go to prilosecotc.com and sign up today. 0 heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and find your right fit. At Edwin Watts, they take customer service to a whole new level. Not only do they fit for clubs, they take pride in servicing customers throughout the entire store. They'll help you find the right shoes, bags, gloves, balls, apparel, and more. At Edwin Watts, you'll find name brand equipment at guaranteed lowest prices every day. So buy it, try it, they know you'll like it because Edwin Watts help you find the right equipment. Visit Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
4:22 left at the Wild World of Sports Arena in Orlando, Florida. The Grizzlies holding on to a 5-point lead. They just had a 9-point lead. It went away in a hurry. Timeout on the floor with 4:22 to go. Grizz on top by 5 over Portland in what's been a wild game. 112.
It has been.
107. This portion
Gonna
of the
be a
show,
white knuckling finisher.
Oh, yeah. This portion of the show brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Group. Well, here's a guy, Matt Eflin, who really cares and takes care of all the people. He has combined now with Brett Lender, we've told you about that for a while now, and what you're getting is a very local group, locally owned and operated. They've been serving the Memphis area community when you take dads and everybody else into account since 1955. And add it all up, we got over 300 years of combined insurance experience. They are specialists in home, in auto, umbrella, and even small to mid-sized commercial accounts. So in other words, the Eflin Insurance Group, well, they not only do personal, but they do business. Not many do both. They do, and they are all over the place. They are a service-first agency. They literally will treat your family like their family. They sit you down, and they ask you questions, whether it's personal, where you really want to protect, and what you think is important to forecasting out the way you think your business is going to go. Chat with Matt Eflin or Britt Lunder. You will come away better for it. I promise. So if you would like to get a quote, it's a real simple thing. You call 757-2315, or if you're a Tiger fan, a special number, 386-GER. That's 386-4777. That's the number for the Eflin Insurance Group. All right. By the time we're off the air, we'll have a winner here, but I've already made my prediction on the Grizz. I thought they would win today. So did Drew. You thought Portland would win. I think Game 2 against San Antonio, the Grizzlies will win. I think they're going to beat New Orleans. Who knows if Zion will play in that one. He'll probably play in that one. I think they're going to take those 3 and get the 8th seed out of the way. They'll lose to the Jazz. They'll beat Oak City. Really good start, 4-3. And then it gets tough. Toronto, Boston, Milwaukee, LLL. I got them 4-4.
But that start, that puts it pretty much on easier street.
Oh, yeah.
We don't concentrate that much on the East, but that was a pretty good win in Orlando, not the home team today, for the Magic over Brooklyn. Very good. So
do you know how Jeremiah Martin played in that? Or
I didn't see a box score yet on that.
Okay.
Chioza had good early minutes. I know that. But I didn't see a final box. So you got 4 up, 4 down. I'm 3-5. I with a loss today. I hope I'm wrong. It looks like I'm going to be, as the Grizzlies try to kind of put this one away. Sunday against San Antonio, I have it as a W. I have a loss to New Orleans. I'm already rethinking that. A win over Utah. So we're different on both of those. And then losses to Oklahoma City, Toronto, and Boston. And then a matchup of a lot of different combos that last night of the year in the bubble. A win over Milwaukee when we won't see any of the freak.
Probably not. There's enough there. I don't know. We'll see. Drew? You got to put your mic on.
Yeah,
there,
got to
Drew.
put my mic there in program. That would help. Like I said, they win today against Portland. I have a dub against San Antonio on Sunday. Start 3-0 Monday against New Orleans. Lose to the Jazz. Haven't beating OKC. Losing Toronto. Losing to Boston. But beating Milwaukee at the end.
So you have them 5-3.
Yes, I do.
Wow.
Okay. Well, y'all have everything wrapped up really kind of by Monday.
Yep.
I'm okay with that.
Well, and if things align like they have already with the Pelicans losing last night, that went a long way. And then if they beat Portland today,
minutes for Zion.
I know.
Why are we having the bubble if they're not going to play him?
This game is so close. 2:45 to go now, and it's 1:15-1:14. The Grizzlies cannot seem to put Portland away. That is not a good sign. That is
no, and as Andy mentioned, those veterans, that veteran coach, this is a really good test. Dylan Brooks missing a technical free throw is not good. Dave, this is the classic. This one's going to feel really, really, really good or awful.
How about, though, the 3 games that we have concentrated the most? Last night, Utah and New Orleans, then the Lakers and the Clippers, and then this game today. I mean, Andy Schiffman's
classic
point
games
about the closeness and the excitement of these games, they have been about anything that an NBA fan or a television executive could have hoped for.
Sure could have. And, again, our respect to Vegas. This was 2.5 Trailblazers, and it's going to be right in there down to the last second on who wins this.
Yeah.
If you bet on it.
Yep. I don't feel good the way they can't seem to put them away. I'll feel much better when this thing is over.
But that's experience, Dave, and
222.
and you know how you get it.
I know.
Running around that
scar
taking those
tissue.
laps.
Scar
That's it.
tissue that we like to talk about. A bit about.
This one would rack up some too, because this could make the bubble fairly easy or a slog.
Yeah, I agree, and we will know the answer to whether or not you can breathe easy or you're going to have to hold your breath for this whole bubble thing, this whole restart.
But wear a mask, however you're breathing.
Yeah, well, we'll know in the next 2 minutes because that's what they're down to. Grizzlies with a 1-point lead and 2:01 to go. I want to go back to a story you talked about because I've been trying to find it. I have not found it yet, and that is Woj, who I thought was, on suspension. Apparently he's out now of his suspension.
Dave, I saw it on the crawl on TV. It was television I was getting it off of, not his Twitter feed.
Okay. I have not seen it on their website yet, but it is there. There have been some cases found of COVID in the bubble.
Well, they think so, but they have done retesting, and Dave, as we have learned, the false positive, the false negatives, you can be positive today, negative tomorrow. I mean, it's the Wild West, and now yesterday, Dr. Fauci is suggesting that it may get down to face coverings, and he said right now it's not going to be necessary, but there was a time he was saying face mask wouldn't be necessary.
Well,
no, I'm sorry, he was saying goggles.
Yeah,
he was saying eye coverings.
Yeah, that's what he said. He was saying if you wanted to
Eye
be completely
coverings.
safe, because I have heard people go, well, wait a second. What good is a mask going to do you if those oral droplets hit you in the eye? That's not being
Or
covered.
as he said, mucosal fluids.
There you go. Mucosal fluids. That's more descriptive.
Oh, Dave.
More apt.
I think by the end of this, one of us could claim epidemiology status.
Yeah. Infectious disease expert.
We kid about something we shouldn't kid about. Boy, this game, when I said white knuckle, this is white knuckle city.
John Morant just made a big shot. He's got 17 now, and the Grizzlies, well, they just lost the lead. It's 121-120. I thought Morant had put the Grizz on top, and McCollum just hit a shot, and now with a minute to go, they're down.
What can make you feel real good can make you feel real bad.
Yeah. Apparently, we don't have a TV in here, but our friend Drew can watch it, and he's jumping up and down on the other side.
I've got it going, and it's going to be quite a sports weekend with the Grizzlies and the bubble and the golfers at TPC Southwind, and we'll keep an eye on baseball because it feels very fragile.
It does. It really does. I received some sad news today. There was a wonderful, wonderful man, Reverend Steve Montgomery from Idlewild Church, who unfortunately went to, I think this was part of his routine. He loved to go around dusk for a bike ride. And he was riding in the bike lane on Perkins by Sequoia, I assume, on his way to the Green Line on Tuesday night, and inadvertently, it apparently seems he turned to go onto Sequoia, which means he would have had to cross the street, must not have seen a car, and the car hit him. There was a truck that was behind the car that had a paramedic in it, just by luck. And the paramedic sort of revived him and kept him going long enough for the ambulance to come and take him to the hospital. He fought the good fight until today. He passed away today at the age of 68 from that bike accident. Reverend Steve Montgomery from Idlewild had retired just a year ago. And that is heartbreaking news for all of us.
Sure is. That's a man that was influential in a lot of lives.
He truly was. And, you know, the saddest part is he was, and the fruits of his labor, he still was certainly going to be involved at the age of 68 and wasn't going to stop doing things. I knew he was
It was his mission.
Good friends with Scott Morris from the Church Health Center, so I'm certain he was going to be doing things with that. He was good friends with my rabbi, Mike Greenstein. I actually had been involved in an exchange thing. This is 15 years ago where my wife and I were involved in some religious meetings and just get-togethers with other people at that church, which, by the way, if you've never been to Idlewild, it is absolutely incredibly gorgeous. And got to meet Reverend Montgomery there. And so this is really, really sad news for all of the Memphis theological community. Reverend Steve Montgomery passed away a little bit earlier in this day. Time for our final timeout. When we come back, we've got great stories all over the place coming your way from Crunch Time as we get set to send in the weekend on Sports Time.
Want to get your voice heard? Hit us up on the First Bank phone line or First Bank text line.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Introducing Peacock, the new free streaming service from NBC Universal. It's hit movies, current shows, and live sports. News clips, trending bits, and timeless hits. It's Kim and Courtney, Seth and Jimmy, Hoda, Savannah, Fiona, and Shrek. I'm an ogre! It's the best of streaming and the best of TV. And that's why you can't not watch. Peacock. Watch for free, upgrade for more. Stream now at peacocktv.com. These titles plus the English Premier League and Law & Order SVU streaming now. Content availability may vary over time. Some content requires paid upgrade.
Frontier Western Store is open and ready to serve you for all your needs in boots, apparel, pet food, and more. Frontier is proud to be a local leader here in the Mid-South when it comes to boots. Stop by the store today for an incredible selection of name brand work and dress boots. Come browse aisles and aisles of top quality boots at everyday low prices in our world famous boot showroom. Dan Post, Rocky, Durango, Twisted X, Georgia, Ariat, and many more. There are so many styles, colors, and fits available, you might need a hand picking out your favorites. Luckily, Frontier's knowledgeable sales staff will cheerfully assist you with any questions you have and ensure the proper fit of your new boots. Frontier also has an amazing selection of jeans and shirts by Wrangler, Ariat, and Carhartt, as well as a fully stocked women's boutique department with thousands of tops and dresses at unbelievable prices. New arrivals often. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Gilman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
All 75 months at 3.14 APR, G4, LHF 07822, Outlander LUO 28772, Eclipse LZO 16320. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 59875 excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Drive your ambition with a new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, $149 a month with 41 mpg highway, or buy for $12,435. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport is ready for any adventure at $229 a month, or buy for $18,533. And cross over to summer in a 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, only $19,147 or $239 per month. And better yet, they're all backed by a stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Mirage G4, $149 a month. Outlander Sport, $229 a month. And Eclipse Cross, $239 a month. Feel safe and confident while shopping at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Save now on your 2021 swimming pool at Family Leisure. Buy now at 2020 pricing and save your spot for the first installation of 2021. Patio furniture 20 to 30% off. Play gyms in stock. Beat the heat with an indoor game table or slate pool table. Pool toys and floats up to 30% off. Family Leisure, Whit Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Family and fun come together.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Well, I lied, Brett. I thought it would be over, right? You thought we knew.
You didn't. You didn't lie. You didn't lie, Dave. You're not. You don't lie. You're not a liar.
We are in overtime.
Free basketball.
Are in overtime, as you say. Free basketball, and already Portland with a triple lead, 127-124, but we are just underway in extracurricular time. And my goodness, these games in this restart are just compelling to watch. This final portion of the show brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch and Genesis of Olive Branch, where you know you're always going to get great things. You're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package on all the new Hyundais and all the new Genesises, and every time you walk in the store and buy a new car, you're going to get a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. Every new vehicle, they've been doing that for years. The maintenance package is a new thing, and it is cool, and that's on all the 2020s. Now we're getting the 2021s to arrive. Wait till you see the Genesis 2021 SUV. It is something else. And if you're into pre-owned, the Hyundai certified pre-owned cars, they get 100,000-mile powertrain warranties too. That's Ray Melton's department. You want service, though? I'm just going to tell you, Chris True and all the gang, for years they've been together. They will take care of you. I like to say it's the standard of the way car business should be done. I want you to find out for yourself. All you got to do is get on Lamar, talking first exit in Mississippi, 10 minutes away. You turn left, right at Craft Road. You are there. Go check it out and understand this this technology is durable, but it's also safe. Hyundai had the most top safety pick vehicles in 2020. Go see what I'm talking about. Head to Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. Ladies and gentlemen, it's crunch time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working? It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Woo!
Woo! Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Dave, I learned last night in the bubble that Milwaukee, they got the best record. For this year, they have the MVP. That's unarguable. But the title's going to go through Tinseltown vis-a-vis the bubble. It goes through 23 in Lakers purple and gold. What'd you learn?
I learned today we got a lot of really good golfers in this WGC and really in the world. When Brendan Todd leads the way in this grouping with this 45 of the top 50 in the world here, he's at 11 under. Ricky Fowler's at 9 under. The defending champion Brooks Koepka is at 7 under. I think there's 22 guys that are on that leaderboard from 1 under all the way to 11 that on Sunday could be crowned champion. I think it is going to be a heck of a shootout. Not only have we got great players, I also learned today, Brett Norsworthy, we got some wacky guys. Bryson DeChambeau, who could hit a ball 423 yards. Did you see what he told GQ?
I did.
The scientist said he hopes to live to 130 years old. He says, quoting, I'm always trying to add more
I hope I do too.
value.
I'm not going to.
I'm always trying to add more value to my life in general. I mean, my goal is to live to 130 or 140. I really think that's possible now with today's technology. I think somebody's going to do it in the next 30 or 40 years. Well, this guy is pretty disciplined. He can lose weight. He can understand physics. He can gain weight, and he's gained enough weight.
I don't want to live that long.
I don't. You know, it all depends if my family and my friends live that long, right?
Well,
my goal is
like
88.
I said, Dave,
That's my goal, 88.
Dave, you know we'll be there for you, though.
I know you. Yes, I know you will be there.
Could have done without this. I could have done without ever hearing the name Harvey Updike. Dave, what could you have done without?
That is funny that you said that, because that is exactly what I thought. Harvey Updike, the clown who poisoned the trees at Toomer Corner and was stupid enough to say it on radio to let the nation know, has died at the age of 71. He was fined, I can't remember how many hundreds of thousands. He paid like $6,900. I don't think the ending of his life was very good, and I guess for that I feel sorry. But
not reflective of every Alabama fan, and I'm still very sorry that happened to Auburn, because Toomer's Corner, one of the great spots in college football, Toomer's Drugstore, that spot on that beautiful campus.
I'm not
terrible.
sure he's representative of any Alabama fan, to be totally honest.
He's not. He's not representative of any of them. That's right. Keeping a close eye this weekend on a bunch. The WGC at TPC Southwind. King Spurs will be really good. All the bubble ball will be real good. Grizzly Spurs on Sunday. The baseball, even as tenuous as it is, Red Sox and Yankees, even in a shortened season, they still seem to play about 150 times. Mets in Atlanta. The Braves are really good. And this weekend, people, do yourself this favor. Watch Tyler Glasnow for the Rays pitch against the O's. 6'8", 230 pounds, and I mean an ace. College football and NFL news, schedule rumors, we'll keep an eye on it all.
I'm going to keep an eye, obviously, on the WGC, FESJI, but there's a new Nike ad out I think everybody should look at. The editing in this ad, it's called "You Can't Stop Sport," is absolutely fantastic. Wait until you see this. Grizzlies have found themselves in a pretty good hole here in the overtime. Minute 20 to go. They're down 7, 135 to 128. We want to thank Bruce Marshall and Dr. George Flynn, Jim Gallagher, Jason Munns, and Andy Schiffman for being with us today. Monday we'll be recapping exactly what we saw all of today with Ted Butler. We'll do medals. David Cobb will be here. And the newest member of the Sports 56 team, Anthony Sane. See you then. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it would be too difficult?